Chapter 546. After winning the first match, Lin Jun didn't stop at all and immediately entered the second match. The second match's arena master was a newly established one. The arena master was a rock giant, and the wager was 100,000 cosmos crystals. After seeing Lin Jun's challenge, this rock giant actually grinned. Another rookie who just entered the arena. The wager is still full in zeros. This is obviously his entire fortune. He doesn't even leave himself a way out and blindly pursues the maximum profit. But I like this kind of guy because his entire fortune will belong to me. I reckon that the arena will soon have another person who is forced into a dead end by the loan sharks. The rock giant accepted Lin Jun's challenge. The screen flashed and Lin Jun appeared. Rookie, I'll let you be the start of my 100-win streak. The rock giant waved his huge fist and fiercely smashed towards Lin Jun. As a rock giant, he was blessed with a unique battle talent. His brain wasn't developed enough, and he wasn't afraid of spiritual attacks. His body's defense was intrepid, and he wasn't afraid of fire, lightning, and other elemental attacks. His only weakness was that he was a little slow, but he never thought that he would be so slow. He watched as his fist swung out like a snail, and that challenger called Lin Jun instantly appeared in front of him. With a thrust of his spear, the defense that he was so proud of was broken apart like tofu. His heart was pierced, and the rock giant died on the spot. Lin Jun's 20,000 cosmos crystals immediately became 40,000. He didn't even look at the rock giant, who fell on the ground and immediately entered the third match. The order of the battle was according to the list that Crazy had given him. Lin Jun didn't need to choose his opponent in the black hole stage arena. Every time, he would bet all his cosmos crystals. In the third match, his opponent was a female witch from the Medusa clan. She had a head full of long viper-like hair and a type of petrifying light. She had already won more than 30 matches. But these crooked methods weren't worth mentioning in front of Lin Jun's 5,000 star power. The petrifying light was easily penetrated by Lin Jun. He raised his spear and finished her off. 40,000 cosmos crystals became 80,000. In the fourth match, 80,000 cosmos crystals became 160,000. In the fifth match, the 160,000 cosmos crystals became 320,000 cosmos crystals. In the sixth match, 320,000 cosmos crystals became 640,000 cosmos crystals. There was a small mishap in the seventh match. The prize money for the champion was only a little more than 20,000, and it was all taken by Lin Jun. He finished the match in one move, and after deducting the part deducted by the arena, his total money was still only a little more than 640,000. Chris, from now on, use round numbers for every battle. Don't accept those with too little money. They're a waste of my time. Only accept those with enough money. Yes, master. I'll screen them for you immediately. Chris calculated for a while. After each ring, those who had less money than Lin Jun's capital would be filtered out, and only those with more money would be chosen. Moreover, it would be ranked from low to high. Those who had more money would be left behind to challenge. This way, Lin Jun would be able to maximize his benefits. For example, those who were worth millions, tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions were left for later challenges. When Lin Jun had more money, they would make their move. In this way, the battles continued one after another. After 20 consecutive battles, the amount of money for each battle was not fixed, but Lin Jun's wealth was rising sharply. Very soon, it had accumulated to 50 million cosmos crystals. Master, that Chamos has reached his 98th ring, and his prize money has reached 58 million cosmos crystals. At this time, many experts will choose to challenge him. You should go and challenge him immediately. Good, then I'll challenge him. Bet 50 million. Chris immediately issued the challenge. She was very fast. Just after Lin Jun issued the challenge, 7 or 8 challenge letters came. These were all experts. They were waiting to see who had accumulated more money in the prize pool. But Lin Jun beat them to it. Alas, I'm one step behind. What a pity. Well, it doesn't matter. This challenger is just at the early stage of the black hole stage, and he actually bet 50 million cosmos crystals. That's great. As long as Chamos wins this round, his prize money for the next round will be over 100 million cosmos crystals. At that time, all the money will be mine. When the time comes, I have to act faster and not let others beat me to it. Many warriors who were waiting for the leak detection thought so. They were all at the peak of the black hole stage and could even advance to the galaxy stage long ago. But they refused to do so because they wanted to do the leak detection in the arena. After all, it was too easy to make money here. At this moment, Chamos was also nervous. It was easy to win the first few battles in the arena, but it was often difficult to win the last few battles. This was because there would be too many leak detectors waiting for this moment. At this time, they were praying for a weaker challenger to win the challenge qualification quickly. That way, it will be much safer. It's the 99th ring. 2 more weak challengers will come. I don't want money. As long as I can get 50 million cosmos crystals, I'll be satisfied. While he was praying, a challenger appeared with a bet of 50 million cosmos crystals. Suddenly, he felt a chill in his heart. He knew that he had encountered an extremely powerful leak detector. With a sullen face, he entered the arena. He was still blaming himself for not following a powerful big brother. In the arena, only those who were particularly powerful among the same level would be called gods. If there was a powerful god to protect them, the ordinary leak detectors would not dare to challenge them. Unfortunately, it was too late to say anything now. But when he saw that it was Lin Jun who appeared in front of him, Chamos's eyes lit up. "Ha, it's actually you, kid. You really dare to challenge me. You have 50 million cosmos crystals so quickly? It's 50 million now, and it's going to be 100 million soon." Lin Jun threw out a cold sentence. Spiritual, evil spirit all. Chamos did not react at all. His spiritual power was only at the peak of the diamond stage. Usually, he relied on a divine weapon for spiritual defense to resist those powerful spirit reader masters. But a low-grade divine weapon, how could it resist Lin Jun's emerald ray spiritual power? Immediately, his brain died. And before he died, he fully experienced what it was like to have his brain devoured by countless demons and ghosts. He did not want to experience it a second time in his life. Lin Jun obtained victory, and the 50 million cosmos crystals became 100 million cosmos crystals. Finally, it reached 100 million. I need 1 billion cosmos crystals to upgrade my flame energy to a bright white color. Previously, this number was somewhat unattainable for me, but now it's very close. Lin Jun was secretly excited. He instructed Crazy, from now on, only accept challenges above 50 million cosmos crystals. Don't accept any challenges below this amount. Crazy changed the settings again. Then, the next round was a challenge with 100 million cosmos crystals. For this round, Lin Jun's money became 200 million cosmos crystals. For the next round, Lin Jun's money became 400 million cosmos crystals. For the third round, Lin Jun's money became 800 million cosmos crystals. During the third round, the opponent had already won 99 rounds. If he won one more round, the arena would be over. But Lin Jun took care of all of them. Lin Jun was glad that he had snatched a big share. After the arena master lost, he even took the initiative to look for Lin Jun. He said that he had a big brother and hoped that Lin Jun could return the money to him. Lin Jun blacklisted him without saying anything. What a joke. How could he return the money that he had obtained? As long as I win one more round, I will be able to meet the requirement of 1 billion cosmos crystals. I will immediately buy 1 billion fire crystal stones. Then, with 600 million cosmos crystals in hand, I can continue to challenge. Lin Jun calculated silently. Just as he was about to look for the next challenger, someone in the dimensional universe called him. "Master, someone added you as a friend. His name is Xianjiang." "Who is it?" Lin Jun didn't recognize this person. He hadn't even heard of him before. However, he still added him. A martialist with a sinister face appeared on the virtual screen. This person was a Nebula Level 9 martialist. Although they were separated by a virtual screen, Lin Jun could feel this person's powerful aura. This was definitely a powerhouse. During the Nebula level, the strongest martialists that Lin Jun had seen were Little Phoenix and Yihua. However, this person's strength wasn't any weaker than theirs. In fact, he might even be stronger. Let's get to know each other, Lin Jun. I am Xianjiang. Lin Jun nodded his head and waited for the other party to continue speaking. When Xianjiang saw that Lin Jun didn't reply, he got a little annoyed. You don't know me? Do I have to know you? Lin Jun didn't understand. Xianjiang stared at Lin Jun for a while, as if to verify the authenticity of his words. After a while, he said, "It doesn't matter if you don't know me. Now that we know each other, I can tell you that the low-level martialist area of the 68399 battle zone is under my protection. You can challenge here, but you have to abide by some rules." Oh, what kind of rules are there? How come I don't know? I've seen the rules of the arena. There doesn't seem to be a rule that prohibits challenges. You don't have to play dumb with me, Lin Jun. I'm talking about the unspoken rules between warriors. Every battle zone has countless people trying to survive here. I know you're very strong and belong to the top group of people in the black hole stage. However, you can't ignore who you are and challenge all the way. You cut off many people's source of income. Some of them are my brothers and have already raised this issue with me. Therefore, I hope you can restrain yourself a little. Only when there's money to be earned can we live better. Can I take your words as a threat? Lin Jun smiled. Chapter 547. After Xian General finished speaking, he looked coldly at Lin Jun. He had already made himself clear. It was up to Lin Jun to see if he was sensible. Lin Jun rubbed his chin and said, "It's not that I don't understand the rules between warriors, but I don't like to lower my head when talking to others. Your attitude makes me very unhappy. How about this? You repeat what you just said to me in a tactful manner, and I'll consider your opinion." Xian General was stunned, and then a sinister smile appeared on his face. Good. What an ignorant rookie. Do you really think that being invincible in the black hole stage means that you are truly invincible? I can guarantee that you won't be able to earn tens of millions here. If you have the patience, you can slowly challenge a few 100,000 or even a few million. In that case, no one will care about you, unless you set up an arena. But then, good luck. See you in the galaxy stage. After that, Xian General fiercely cut off the communication, and the image disappeared. Master, you seem to have offended some big shot. After leveling up, Chris became more and more human. She could talk about some private matters. Lin Jun nodded. This Xian General isn't simple. He's very strong. Even if I were to go against him, I wouldn't have the confidence to win. If I wasn't in urgent need of money, I wouldn't want to be on bad terms with such a person. Lin Jun was also a little unhappy. Sure enough, where there were people, there was an underworld. This arena was undoubtedly a huge underworld. The forces were tangled and complicated. When too much money was involved, it would affect the interests of some people. But at this moment, to Lin Jun, these people's words were all farts. Those who blocked him from making money should all get lost. Don't pay attention to such people. Continue to challenge. It's going to reach 1 billion soon. Chris inquired for a while, and then said in surprise, Master, those individual arenas with more than 30 million have basically been challenged. Many people who have been here for a long time have been dispatched. Now in the entire black hole stage arena in the small war zone, the highest amount is only 10 to 20 million, and it's still decreasing. Lin Jun was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that this Xian General really had the ability to make the leak detectors who had been waiting for a long time collectively move out and sweep the black hole stage arena. This was cutting off Lin Jun's source of income. Of course, Lin Jun could also challenge those arenas that were worth hundreds of thousands or millions, but the speed of accumulating wealth was too slow. Lin Jun couldn't stand it. Other than challenging the arena, what else can I do to earn money? Master, you can set up an arena and wait for others to challenge you. This is often more profitable than challenge. All right, then I'll set up an arena. The amount, let's set it at 100 million. After 100 rounds, if we're lucky, it's possible to earn tens of billions. Soon, Lin Jun registered a black hole stage challenge arena. The amount of 100 million was very huge. In the end, it would often roll up to an astronomical number. However, as soon as the arena was set up, it received a long list of challenges. Soon, it was filled with 100 people. But what surprised Lin Jun was that the amount of these challengers were all 100. 100 was the lowest challenge amount. Of course, some people would set it at 10,000 as the lowest. Lin Jun didn't deliberately set it, but he didn't expect such a situation to occur. If he won 100 rounds, Lin Jun could only get 10,000. He also had to pay 1% of the fee. In fact, he could only get 9,900. However, the arena was set up. He had to fight. When the first challenger appeared, a minute had already passed. Lin Jun settled it in one move and won 10,000. Then, the second challenger appeared. 100 rounds. It took Lin Jun more than 2 hours. Every round was 10,000. This made Lin Jun lose his temper. Originally, he wanted to kill a few challengers to vent his anger. He didn't expect that some challengers would self-destruct after entering. They didn't even give Lin Jun such a chance. Obviously, this wasn't the first time they did this. They were incomparably skilled. After 100 rounds, after deducting the fee, he got 990,000 cosmos crystals. Lin Jun had won 100 consecutive rounds. However, Lin Jun wasn't excited at all. The only gain from this arena was that his points had increased by 300. This amount of money was really not enough. Chris, sort the settings of the arenas according to the amount of points from highest to lowest. I want to start from the highest. It'll just take a little more time. When I have enough points, I want to go to the Galaxy Stage Arena to play. Chris immediately listed the data for Lin Jun again. A few million per round was fine too. Lin Jun didn't care about meat and vegetables now. After more than a day, he often earned millions. Later, he could only fight a few 100,000 per round. Fortunately, there were more rounds. After more than 200 rounds, Lin Jun's money accumulated from 800 million to 30 billion. He finally reached 1,000 points. After reaching 1,000 points, Lin Jun could leave the novice area and go to a bigger stage. I'll use this 1 billion to buy Fire Spar immediately. Because it was inside the Qilin Sacred Planet, the delivery speed was very fast. 1 billion Fire Spar was soon in his hands. I want to advance to a medium cyan flame. There are a total of 4 steps. This is the first step. After exiting the dimensional universe, Lin Jun looked at the big pile of Fire Spar in front of him. These Fire Spar seemed to be burning. They contained powerful firepower. Every Fire Spar was produced from the core of a volcano. It was a crystal of flame. A volcano could only extract 1 cubic meter of Fire Spar. The pile in front of him was a total of 1 million cubic meters. That was why it was so precious. Lin Jun immediately activated the armor transformation. Since entering the black hole stage, his black hole beast armor transformation had gradually begun to look a little like a black Qilin. It was also considered to have entered the juvenile stage. A black hole loomed above his head. The firepower in the Fire Spar immediately entered Lin Jun's body. The pure white flames on his body rushed out and gradually started to brighten. After all the Fire Spar was absorbed, Lin Jun's flame power finally reached a bright white color. Great! The advancement is successful. Next, I need to make my firepower reach an incandescent color. That will require 5 billion cosmos crystals. It's not too difficult. After 3 more rounds, I'll have completely met the conditions to revive Little Phoenix. I can go back to the Chaotic Star River to find her. Lin Jun was in a good mood, as he was 1 step closer to his goal. The advancement of his firepower also brought about other benefits. Within the Sky Fire store, Lin Jun's clone finally forged a high-grade deity weapon. The moment the high-grade deity weapon was forged, it was immediately bought for 1 billion cosmos crystals. The Fire Qilin Empire was so big that the number of rich people was unimaginable. They were not afraid of the price. They were only afraid of the lack of goods. Although the Sky Fire store was not big, the speed of making money was even faster than Lin Jun's entire Sun territory. In the future, it would definitely bring in endless wealth for Lin Jun. I can forge high-grade deity weapons now. Now I'm earning money from 2 directions at the same time. I just need 5 billion cosmos crystals. After my firepower is upgraded again, I'll be able to forge top-grade deity weapons. That will be the start of earning big money. With these unexpected gains, Lin Zhen's confidence grew even more. Just as Lin Zhen entered the arena again, Yin Xie immediately sent a message to him. My lord, you're finally here. I knew you would break out of the black hole stage very quickly. Come quickly and join our battle team. We're in urgent need of people. Lin Zhen was not in a hurry to join. Instead, he asked, what are the benefits of joining a battle team? There are too many benefits. However, you might not be interested in other things. Let me tell you, the biggest benefit is making money. I can also make money by fighting in the individual competition. Moreover, I have a higher chance of winning. Why should I join a battle team? Lin Zhen asked. There are also 100-man battles, 1,000-man battles, and 10,000-man battles. Sometimes there are even 1,000,000-man battles. You still have to choose your opponent in the individual battles. You also have to choose your opponent. Moreover, it's rare to see an opponent with a high amount of money. Even if you encounter one, it won't be easy to fight. If you encounter an expert, you might even lose. Even if you win 100 battles, you might lose everything in one big battle. I've seen too many of such situations. I've seen this many times. Speaking up to this point, Yin Xie paused for a moment. Lin Zhen, the battlefield in the nebula stage is different from the black hole stage. You can do whatever you want in the black hole stage, and no one can pose a threat to you. However, your gains won't be much, right? Lin Zhen nodded. Yin Xie was right. He had fought more than 300 battles to obtain this 1 billion cosmos crystals. Moreover, he had obtained 750 million cosmos crystals in 4 of them. The remaining 330 battles had only earned him slightly more than 200 million cosmos crystals in total. It's different in the nebulous stage. The income here is high, but the risk is also high. Lin Zhen, you might be invincible in the black hole stage, but here, I can guarantee that the current you is not enough. Do you believe me? Of course. I believe this. Lin Zhen had never been arrogant enough to think that he could do whatever he wanted in the nebulous stage. Even Yihua, Lin Zhen, didn't have the confidence to win. If the little phoenix was resurrected, Lin Zhen estimated that he wouldn't be a match for it. As for the mysterious general he had met yesterday, Lin Zhen also didn't have the confidence to win against him. The universe was so big, and there were too many experts. In the nebulous stage, there were definitely many who could defeat Lin Zhen. Lin Zhen was also somewhat worried. It wasn't easy to earn money in the nebulous stage. Perhaps it was just as Yin Xie had said. The money he had accumulated for a long time might be lost in one go. The possibility of this happening was very high. Therefore, I said that the nebulous stage is not an individual battle. That's why I said that the individual competition is ultimately unreliable. Lin Zhen, it's better for us to participate in the team battles. Our team is a 5-man team, and only by joining the team can you participate in the large-scale team battles. There are many people in the team battles, and every time you kill an enemy, you'll be able to obtain 50% of his participation winnings. Furthermore, there are rewards like the first kill, 10 consecutive strikes, 100 consecutive strikes, and the final victory. 2 days ago, there was a team battle with 100,000 people in this region, and one of them even earned 18 billion cosmos crystals. Do you think that's a lot? That's not a large-scale battle with millions of people. That's the real battlefield for experts to earn money. Hearing Yin Xie's introduction, Lin Zhen couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement. It seemed that the team battle was indeed a good place. Once there, as long as one had the strength, they would be able to earn without losing anything. I can participate in the team battle if I join the team. Of course, there are small-scale battles every day, but for large-scale battles, you have to wait. However, if you don't join the team, you don't have the qualifications to participate in the team battle. Lin Zhen, our team is currently lacking a spot. If you don't join, there will be many people lining up to join. Chapter 548. Yin Xie's team had a total of 4 people, and there were 3 others besides him. Seeing Lin Zhen arrive, Yin Xie immediately introduced him enthusiastically. Come. Lin Zhen, let me introduce you. This is our captain, Haig from the Golden Dragon Empire. He's a level 7 nebula and the #1 expert in our team. A middle-aged man in his early 30s nodded at Lin Jun. Welcome, Lin Jun. Hello, Captain. Lin Jun nodded back. This is Poro from the Divine Machine Empire. He's a level 4 nebula. His race is a natural sniper, and everyone has a talent for shooting. He's a key figure in our team. A purple-haired youth smiled at Lin Jun. Welcome, Brother Lord of Yin Xie. Your youth is truly astonishing. This person looked young, but he was actually more than 300 years old. Not every warrior could reach the nebula stage before the age of 100. Yi Hua and Little Phoenix were special cases, and there might not be more than 10 of them in an empire. The majority of warriors who reached the nebula stage were hundreds or even thousands of years old. However, age did not mean that one's strength was weak. On the contrary, at the same cultivation level, older people were generally stronger. This was because they had cultivated for a longer time and had a deeper understanding of the laws of battle skills. Hello, Poro. Nice to meet you. Yanxia pointed at the last female warrior. This is Yuxian from the Green Caltrip Empire. She's a level 5 nebula stage and is known as the Iron Lady. She doesn't care about her life when she fights. Her strength is also outstanding. Yuxian looked at Lin Jun and then said to Yanxia, You said your friend's realm isn't high, but this is a little too low. I thought he was at the nebula stage. I didn't expect him to be an early black hole stage. Shouldn't he be in the newbie stage? Yuxian, don't underestimate our lord. He's a well-known figure in our empire. He once killed hundreds of millions of insectoids by himself. Those who underestimate him will have to pay a huge price. All right, then let's test it out in the arena. Yuxian shrugged. Although she didn't quite believe that Lin Jun had such strength, she didn't say much. This kind of reaction was very normal. Lin Jun had long been mentally prepared for this. Overall, this team gave him a good feeling. Haig said, All right, since Lin Jun is here, then he is a member of our team. How strong he is will depend on his performance in battle. Everyone still needs to trust each other in order to achieve good results. Lin Jun asked, When will the team battle begin? That depends on the scale of the team battle you want to fight. If you want to fight a 5-man battle, you can do it at any time. Large-scale battles won't happen all the time, but it won't last for too long. Basically, there will be tens of thousands of people fighting every day. In 10 days, there will be millions of people fighting. Every month, our battle zone will have a cross-zone battle with other battle zones. Have you fought the 10,000 people battle today? Not yet, but it will be soon. In 4 hours, there will be millions of people fighting today. Lin Jun had a rough idea of what was going on, so he turned to Yin Xie and said, Brother Yin, now that everyone knows each other, I will stay in the nebula stage for the time being. I will return when the million-person battle begins. Yin Xie nodded. Remember to come back on time. Only when the team is full can you enter the battlefield. When you have nothing to do, you can participate in the Stairway Challenge or the individual arena. Haig and the others also said goodbye to Lin Jun. Although it was the first time they met, the feeling was not bad. Lin Jun agreed and turned to leave. All right, boss. I understand. Don't worry. There are too many ways to step on someone and not let them come out. I promise you that this person will not be able to survive in the galaxy stage area. In a luxurious room with a swimming pool, Xian Jiang ended the communication. A beautiful fox girl next to him handed him a glass of red wine. After taking a sip, he picked up a cigar from another girl and took a puff. Under the control of the star power, a huge smoke ring was spat out. It condensed into a heart shape in the air and did not dissipate for a long time. The smoke from his nostrils turned into an arrow in the air and pierced the heart of the smoke ring. It directly pierced the heart and scattered like fireworks. It was very beautiful. Clap, clap, clap. A nebula level. 8 martialists next to him kept applauding as he said to the Dark General, Boss, your smoke trick is really superb. It's really amazing. Xinjiang laughed. It's just some boring stuff. It can only entertain myself. It's not elegant. The warrior said, Boss, I see that you are in a good mood today. Is there something good to be happy about? There's indeed something. I just received a notice from my brother to deal with an ungrateful kid. But this kid happened to be the one I want to deal with. Don't you think it's a coincidence? That's really a coincidence. Boss's brother. Isn't he? Isn't he the one who dominates the entire 68? Xianjiang nodded. You're right. There are 7 fear stars in the 68 district. My boss is one of them. Who is it that deserves the boss's brother to tell him personally? Xinjiang thought for a moment. A World King powerhouse found my boss and asked him to help deal with this person. This person is called Lin Jun. He didn't know what's good for him and was tyrannical in the Black Hole District. He swept all the individual arenas. I had no choice but to let my subordinates deal with him first. This forced the kid to run to the Galaxy District. Huh. He ran to the boss's territory. Isn't he looking for death? Has he joined the team? Yes. I just checked his information. He has already joined the team. Before I could do anything, my brother called me. Boss, how are you going to deal with him? Xianjiang snorted. I warned him before, but his attitude was arrogant. He didn't put me in his eyes at all. Since that's the case, don't blame me. From now on, I will make sure that no one dares to team up with him. I will make sure that he can no longer participate in team battles. Let's see how he can survive in the Galaxy District. After he finished speaking, he instructed the martial artist beside him. There will be a large-scale battle with millions of people tonight. Inform everyone to get ready and set up a sniper team. When Lin Jun's team appears, kill them immediately. Understood, boss. I will arrange it immediately. Xianjiang nodded. He was about to pull the 2 fox girls beside him to have some fun when he suddenly stopped his subordinates. Also, remember to spread the news that this Lin Jun is my enemy. If anyone dares to team up with him in the future, they will be going against me. His teammates will end up like them. At the same time, on the Qilin Sacred Planet, in the Mechanical World King's manor, the Mechanical World King ended the call and said to Yihua, Yihua, I have arranged everything. Dad, who did you arrange? Yihua asked. Hee, you still don't trust your dad? Do you know the 7 malefic stars of the 68th district? Yihua was stunned. The 7 malefic stars? That is the great god of the 68th district. The 7 of them rule the entire 68th district's galaxy district battlefield. They are ridiculously strong. Dad, which one are you talking about? Yinghua, do you know him? Yihua nodded. I do. I fought with Yinghua before, but I'm ashamed to say that when I first entered the Nebula stage, I met him in the cross-zone battlefield. He was a Nebula level 9, so I thought I could at least contend with him. But he only used 1 fist to kill me in the cross-zone battlefield. Yihua's face became somewhat solemn. It was also from that time that I realized that my so-called genius status in the Fire Qilin Empire was nothing. It was also from that time that I became low-key and modest, because I realized that there was always someone better than me, and there was always someone better than me. At that time, I felt ashamed and ashamed. I thought that one day I would find Yinghua and defeat him, but then Lin Jun appeared and diverted my attention. Just a year ago, before Lin Jun came out of the Chaotic Star River, I met him again in the cross-district battlefield. Then, the result was exactly the same as last time. He killed me with 1 fist, but I was already a Galaxy Grade 9. He was also a Galaxy Grade 9, but the gap between us was still so big. Yihua's face was somewhat depressed. Dad, am I too useless? The Mechanical World King shook his head. No, you don't have to be depressed at all. Losing to the 7 malefic stars is very normal. You may not know, but the 7 malefic stars are people of the same time period as me. When I was in the Galaxy District, they were also in the Galaxy District. If we're talking about age, they're even older than many World Kings. Don't you think it is normal for you to lose to them? Is that so? Yihua was stunned. That's right. These 7 people are almost unshakable in the 68th district. I also stayed in the 68th district back then, so I know Yinghua. Then why don't they break through? Yihua asked. Maybe it's because of psychological reasons. There are always people in this world who would rather be the head of a chicken than the tail of a cow. This is not something we need to worry about, but you have to know that with their strength, they can even challenge an ordinary domain monarch. They can challenge a domain monarch. Yihua was instantly stunned. As a Galaxy Grade 9, he naturally knew how strong a domain monarch was. It was not on the same level as a Galaxy Grade, but he did not expect the 7 malefic stars to be comparable to a domain monarch. Yi Hua's mentality was immediately balanced when he thought about how the other party was an expert comparable to a domain monarch. He no longer had the heart to compare with such people. It was better to use his energy to deal with Lin Jun. Ying Hua has already given the order to definitely not let Lin Jun stand out in the arena. So, you can rest assured, no matter what plan Lin Jun has to accumulate wealth, he will not be able to complete it. Chapter 549. Lin Jun felt that he had made a mistake. He should have come to the galaxy field earlier. The lowest reward for the challenges here was 100,000 cosmos crystals. Challenges worth millions and millions of cosmos crystals could be found everywhere. There were even challenges worth hundreds of millions or billions of cosmos crystals. However, Lin Jun did not recklessly challenge those who were worth billions of cosmos crystals. This was because the arena master who could place billions of cosmos crystals for others to challenge was definitely not a weakling. Lin Jun had never thought that he was invincible in the galaxy field. Lin Jun chose those who were worth tens of millions of cosmos crystals. He still had 30 million cosmos crystals in his hands. After leaving behind 5 million cosmos crystals, he found an opponent worth 25 million cosmos crystals to challenge. The arena master was a level 4 nebula. When he saw that the challenger was actually an early-stage black hole, this level 4 nebula almost laughed out loud. Ha ha. Little kid, did you steal your parents' money to play? How dare you play with 25 million cosmos crystals? Be careful that you don't get spanked when you go home. Ha ha. Lin Jun's face turned cold. This martial artist was simply an idiot who would play around with tens of millions of cosmos crystals. This guy was simply despicable. Lin Jun made his move without saying a word. Even though he was a level 4 nebula, he was far from being a match for Lin Jun in terms of star power or techniques. Lin Jun was also not in a hurry to kill him. This was a battle of torture. Lin Jun had to stab his opponent 900 times before he was finally able to kill him. Only then was he able to vent his anger. 25 million cosmos crystals became 50 million cosmos crystals in the blink of an eye. Lin Jun immediately found another 50 million cosmos crystal match to challenge. He was vigilant. Xian General had threatened him previously, so he might come up with some other tricks. He had just arrived at the galaxy field and wanted to earn as much money as possible. He had to fight as much as he could in the early stages. With Lin Jun's current strength, as long as he did not deliberately challenge those level 9 nebula experts, it would be difficult for him to meet an opponent in an ordinary individual match. From 50 million cosmos crystals to 100 million, 200 million, 480 million, and then 100 to 200 million cosmos crystals. After 3 hours, Lin Jun actually had 4 billion cosmos crystals in his hands. Phew, this is simply too awesome. Lin Jun was a little excited. This kind of money-making speed was something he had never experienced before. He didn't fight in too big of an arena. Every time he fought, he would be able to earn over 100 million. At this rate, he would soon have 5 billion. Then, he would be able to buy more fire crystals and upgrade his flame a second time. If everything goes well, the day of the resurrection of Little Phoenix will not be far away. Maybe I could try to fight a 1 billion battle. That way, I'll have 5 billion. Chris, help me find individual arenas worth more than 1 billion. See how many there are. Soon, Chris listed out the numbers. There were hundreds of arenas with a value of over 1 billion. However, Lin Jun realized that the ring masters of these billion-dollar arenas were all Nebula Level 9 masters. It was impossible to tell which one was easier to defeat and which one was harder to defeat. If one were to ask which stage of the Nebula realm had the most warriors, it would definitely be the Nebula Level 9. Out of 10,000 Nebula Level 9 masters, there might not even be one who could break through to the Star Domain realm. Too many warriors were stuck in this realm. They couldn't become domain monarchs, but they had been cultivating for hundreds or thousands of years at the Nebula Level 9. Their experience was far from what Lin Jun, who had cultivated for less than 100 years, could compare to. Don't think that those who were under 100 years old were all geniuses. In the eyes of those veteran Nebula Level 9 masters, their strength was not enough. No matter what, I have to choose one to try. Let's choose this one. After searching for a while, Lin Jun decided on a Nebula Level 9. However, just as he was about to challenge, he suddenly received a designated challenge message. Lin Jun, I am Lei Bao from the Hurricane Galaxy. I am now challenging you to a battle of 1 billion cosmos crystals. Do you dare to fight? Designated challenge. Lin Jun frowned slightly. Why would someone specifically challenge him? Needless to say, it must be that Xian General's doing. What was he trying to do? After thinking for a while, Lin Jun rejected the challenge. If it were any other time, he wouldn't mind giving it a try. However, this was a crucial time. He was about to reach 5 billion cosmos crystals. Lin Jun didn't want to complicate things. Just as he rejected the challenge, the second designated challenge came. Little bastard from the Fire Qilin Empire, I am Olinsman from the Heavenly Eternal Empire. I am now challenging you to a battle of 1 billion cosmos crystals per round. Do you dare to fight with me? Lin Jun rejected the challenge again. The third designated challenge came. Just as he rejected the challenge, the fourth, the fifth came one after another. If these people had challenged Lin Jun together, Lin Jun could have chosen to reject all of them. However, their timing was very accurate. Every time they challenged Lin Jun, they would arrive within a second before Lin Jun rejected them. Clearly, these people were together. Lin Jun didn't even have time to choose the arena. He used all his time to reject, and reject again and again. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Ha ha ha. This kid still wants to fight with me. Since you dare to come to the galaxy field, I won't let you have any challenges. Just now, when I wasn't paying attention, I'll let you earn some points. However, from now on, you won't get a single challenge unless you accept our challenge. However, the result will be your loss. Xian General looked at the challenge messages from his subordinates in the swimming pool and laughed loudly. As a great god of small war zone, Xian General had more than 100,000 strong level 9 galactic warriors under him. As long as he gave an order, these people would take turns to challenge. One challenge per second, and in an hour, there would only be 3,600 challenges. If each of his subordinates challenged him once, it would be enough for Lin Jun to refuse for several days. After a few rounds, even the strongest person wouldn't be able to resist retreating unless he dared to accept the challenge. This method was very practical in the arena. Those who dared to offend a great god wouldn't have a good ending. They would torture you until you couldn't survive in the arena. The only way to participate in the battle was to participate in the team battle. Only during the team battle, the notification would show whether or not you wanted to participate in the team battle. The personal selection information would come later. That was the only way. As for the team battle, Xian General had already arranged it. After repeatedly rejecting hundreds of challenges, Lin Jun knew that trouble had come for him. As long as he was in the arena, such challenges would never stop. The next person, soaring from Ponzi Empire, issued a challenge to Lin Jun, and Lin Jun accepted. He couldn't continue rejecting like this forever. As long as he wanted to stay in the arena, this battle was unavoidable. It would be good if he won, but if he lost, Lin Jun had to know the difference between him and these veteran level 9 galactic warriors. The scene changed, and a warrior from the Sky Eagle race appeared in front of him. He had a pair of wings that were dozens of meters long. After spreading them out, they covered the sky and the sun. His aura was incomparably powerful. Gaga, you finally accepted, kid. Sir, Xian General's guess was right. You will definitely accept it someday. But I didn't expect that I would be so lucky. Sir Xian General said that if I beat you, all your earnings will belong to me. Lin Jun, hurry up and give me your 1 billion cosmos crystals. Lin Jun raised his hand, and the yin-yang spear appeared. The lightning wings appeared, and he transformed into armor. Spiritual, evil spirit all. He released his spiritual power, and a golden light flashed between his opponent's eyebrows. He had withstood it. This was the first warrior to withstand Lin Jun's spiritual, evil spirit all. Gaga. Boy, we're not like you, a nouveau riche. were all cultivators who have been cultivating for thousands of years. Those with Emerald Mang's spiritual energy and below all have at least high-grade or even top-grade spiritual defensive artifacts. Although your spiritual energy is good, you can forget about breaking through my defenses. This person's spiritual power had already reached the Azure Perfection level. He also had a high-grade spiritual defense artifact. Lin Jun's spiritual evil spirit all was actually ineffective. Without waiting for Lin Jun to make a second move, this Sky Eagle warrior had already arrived in front of Lin Jun. With a flap of his huge wings, his speed had also reached sublight speed. The weapon in his hand was also a spear. With a shake, spear shadows filled the sky and smashed down like a carpet bombing. There are no blind spots. Immovable as a mountain, Lin Jun surged his astral power and relied on his sublight speed defense to resist his opponent's attack. The concept of sublight speed was 10,000 times the speed of sound. This was an attack method second only to the speed of light. With his talent, this warrior had also mastered sublight speed and was instantly in a stalemate with Lin Jun. The high-speed battle made it impossible for people to see their attacks clearly. There were only sparks shooting out like raindrops. At this moment, Lin Jun couldn't even use techniques like domain or space slash. Because it was too fast, there was no time to do so. Moreover, the strength of his opponent's astral power was actually above Lin Jun's. At this moment, the only method was strength. Even if he wanted to use time stop, it was too late. Even if he did use it, it would be forcefully broken by his opponent's astral power. Only a stronger astral power was the foundation of victory. After tens of thousands of attacks and defenses in an instant, Lin Jun's astral power was actually unable to keep up. *T. This person's astral power is definitely more than 2,000 times mine. Moreover, his speed is suppressing mine. I have no way to counterattack. At this moment, Lin Jun finally understood the strength of these veteran level 9 galactic warriors. They were stronger than him by about a third. Moreover, Lin Jun believed that his opponent definitely had many trump cards that he hadn't used yet. However, Lin Jun wasn't a passive person. Seeing that he was going to lose if this continued, he simply sank his Dantian Chi and suddenly rushed over, allowing his opponent's spear to pierce through his chest. The last of his astral power, time stop. In less than a tenth of a second, Lin Jun's vision turned black. Lin Jun had self-destructed. The Sky Eagle warrior's flight was interrupted by time stop. He didn't have time to retreat. Although he stabbed his spear and killed Lin Jun, he was also engulfed by Lin Jun's self-destruction before he died. Mutual destruction. Lin Jun had lost this battle, but he had also won. Facing an opponent who was definitely stronger than him, he decisively self-destructed and pulled his opponent down with him. At least he was able to save 1 billion cosmos crystals. Sly brat, you definitely won't have such a chance next time. The Sky Eagle warrior roared furiously. The victory that was in his hands had flown away. This made him so angry that he was about to explode. On the other side, after Lin Jun left the arena, he immediately received the next challenge. Lin Jun didn't choose to accept or reject. Instead, he slowly sat down. Chapter 550. After waiting for a while, the team battle notification finally arrived. Your teammates have invited you to join the million-man team battle. Do you accept? Accept. In the team battle, everyone needs to bring 10 million cosmos crystals as their capital. Do you accept? Yes. Soon, the scene in front of him changed. Lin Jun appeared in a huge field. Countless people appeared around him at the same time. Yan Xia, Haig, and the others had all appeared. The size of this field was unimaginable. Lin Jun's team was on the black side, while the other side was on the red side. They were separated by a distance of 10 miles, and the opposite side was full of people. 1 million on each side. There were no tactics to speak of in this kind of battle. As long as you rushed over and killed your opponent, you could get 5 million of the opponent's 10 million cosmos crystals. If the opponent had accumulated 30 million cosmos crystals, you could get 15 million cosmos crystals if you killed him. So when your capital exceeded 20 million cosmos crystals, even if you died, you would still make a profit. Lin Jun, We need to cover each other. We need to cooperate. In this kind of battle, the power of an individual is very small. We need to cooperate to make money. Do you understand? I understand. Don't worry. While they were talking, countless people on the opposite side had already flocked over. The people on this side also followed and rushed over. Lin Jin's team had no choice but to move forward. There were people everywhere. If they didn't move, they would be trampled under the feet of the people behind them. Everyone with long-range skills launched an attack at the first moment. Countless energy storms, mental powers, and hidden weapons came crashing down on them. Lin Jin's team was in the front half of the crowd. They wouldn't be attacked immediately, but they would soon be involved in the battle. Every position had its advantages. The front could kill people quickly, but it was also easy to be killed quickly. Just as Lin Jin's team was charging, a group of people on the opposite side of the crowd had already locked onto them. Confirm the target's position. There are 5 people, including Lin Jin. According to boss's order, warriors of the Divine Armament Clan, get ready to kill the 5 of them immediately. 5 galactic grade, 9 martialists had appeared on the other side. These people were like Poirot and Lin Jin's team. They were born with sniping skills. When they stretched out their arms, they would immediately transform into laser guns that could fire astral bullets. This kind of bullet wasn't a regular bullet, nor was it an elemental bullet. It was a warrior's astral power. If they had 5,000 stars, they could choose to fire 100 stars or even 1,000 stars at a time. Now, it was the Xian general who ordered them to attack. These people all chose to shoot out their strongest star power. If such an attack landed in front of a person, it would be equivalent to the other party self-destructing right in front of their eyes. They would die without a doubt. This was the power of the divine armament race. It was also the reason why Poirot, who was only a level 4 nebula, could occupy the main position in Lin Jin's team. This time, the other party was a nebula level 9, so they had used this method on Lin Jin and the others. Along the way, Lin Jin suddenly felt a chill all over his body. Not good, Lin Jin shouted. This feeling came so suddenly, as if he was going to face death in the next second. Lin Jin immediately activated Time Stop. Then his eyes barely caught a glimpse of a long trajectory cutting through the sky and rushing into his time field at an extremely high speed. Then, his time field was broken by this force. Time Stop couldn't stop it. This proved that the other party's attacking power was above Lin Jin's astral power. After Lin Jin activated Time Stop, he also activated his next move, Space Slash. Before he was killed, Lin Jin gathered all his strength and sent out a huge space slash. It whistled as it rushed into the enemy's formation. He didn't know how effective the space slash was, but in the next second, the feeling of death hit him. That attack was almost unstoppable and unavoidable. It exploded right in front of Lin Jin's eyes, followed by endless darkness. With a flash of white light, Lin Jin came out of the arena filled with millions of people. At the same time, 4 of his teammates came out with him. The 5 of them exchanged glances, but didn't say anything. Haig, Yin Xie and the other 2 had lost half of the 10 million they had invested. They came out with only 5 million each, but they didn't even touch the enemy's side. Poirot cursed. This must be premeditated. Someone is deliberately trying to kill us. The attackers are all experts of our divine armament race. The strength of their attack is comparable to the self-destruction of a level 9 nebula. I, Poirot, am confident that I don't have enough face to offend such a big shot. Who can tell me what happened? Yu Xian from the Green Caltrib Empire also had an ugly expression. My only enemy in the past is my ex-boyfriend, but he definitely doesn't have the strength or the ability to invite such a big shot. Yin Xie pondered for a moment. I don't understand either. Haig said, no need to guess. We must have offended a big shot. No one else could do this. They could instantly lock onto the few of us among millions of people. Everyone's eyes finally fell on Lin Jin. Lin Jin first checked. When he died, he lost 5 million of the 10 million cosmos crystals. But now, it had become 330 million cosmos crystals. In other words, the space slash he sent out before his death killed 65 opponents. Not everyone was an elite. There were many low-level nebula stage experts among them. It wasn't strange that Lin Jun killed more than 60 people with one strike. But Lin Jun wasn't happy at all, because a new challenge had come in. He had left the arena filled with millions of people, and a new challenge had come immediately. This didn't give him any chance. Being able to kill more than 60 people in such a situation was already considered very lucky. More importantly, his teammates were already dissatisfied with his decision. Lin Jun took a deep breath. I didn't expect this result. I want to apologize to everyone. I've offended a person called Xian General. I'm very sorry for the loss. I'll compensate you for the money you lost. After which, Lin Jun compensated each of them with 5 million cosmos crystals. This wasn't a small sum of money, and Lin Jun didn't wish to owe anyone anything since they had only met by chance. Yan Xie wanted to decline, but suddenly there's a rolling message in the dimensional universe. This kind of rolling message could only be sent out by the top 3 martial artists in the region. Everyone could receive it. I'm Xian General. I now announce that the warrior from the Fire Qilin Empire, Lin Jun, is my enemy. As long as he teams up with anyone, he will be killed by me in the arena. I'm going to ban him. You're on your own now. The message was simple, but it was full of killing intent. The team suddenly became silent. Haig and the others looked at each other, but didn't say anything. Yan Xie looked at Lin Jun with some worry. Lin Jun, how did you offend such a person? Xian General is the #1 expert in our small battle zone. No wonder this happened. Poirot rolled his eyes. So that's how it is. I'm just an innocent victim. Yu Xian turned her head and didn't look at Lin Jun anymore. Her attitude was very obvious. Haig wanted to say something, but Lin Jun stopped him. I can understand everyone's feelings. I didn't want this to happen. I think my relationship with everyone's teammates ends here. After giving them all the money, Lin Jun waved to Yan Xie. Brother Yan, see you in the future. Yan Xie froze and felt a little uncomfortable, but he couldn't do anything about it. In the dimensional arena, the strong were the kings. Xian General had already made such an obvious threat. Whoever continued to be Lin Jun's teammate was someone who didn't want to stay. In the next moment, Lin Jun's figure disappeared from the dimensional arena. He had already left. He couldn't stay in the galaxy field anymore, and the black hole period was boring. He could only leave this arena. His figure appeared in the rented hotel. Lin Jun sat cross-legged on the bed and slowly opened his eyes. He had lost this time. Although he had won a lot of money, he had lost the right to continue fighting in the arena. But at the same time, he clearly saw his current strength. Lin Jun wouldn't be afraid of anyone under the age of 100. No matter who it was, he had the confidence to fight. Even if he was weak, it wouldn't be by much. He definitely had the power to fight. As for those old warriors, the difference was obvious. Lin Jun had learned these techniques in more than 10 years. Those people had thousands of years to learn more. The most important thing was star power. Even if he had 10 times compression, those who could cultivate to the galaxy stage would have at least 7 or 8 times compression. After all, there was an insurmountable gap between the black hole early stage and the galaxy level 9. It was also thanks to his mutated black hole and dark star that he could survive in the galaxy field. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be qualified to stay. However, his departure was only temporary. Lin Jun had never thought of withdrawing from the game forever. He would return. Phew! He exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. What I lack now is star power. Those old galaxy warriors usually have star power between 6 or 7,000 to 10,000. Only with this kind of strength can I survive in the galaxy field and not be afraid of most people. I was a little rash. I just advanced to the black hole stage and haven't had the time to stabilize my realm and cultivate patiently. This is because I'm used to taking shortcuts and lack accumulation. This won't do. It's not like I can't make money by reviving Little Phoenix. I have more than 4 billion now, plus the 5 billion from selling the divine weapon made by my clone. I have more than 5 billion now. I can definitely upgrade the flame again. With the incandescent flame, I can make supreme-grade divine weapons. When the time comes, I'll still be rolling in money. I'll take advantage of this time to settle down and cultivate. I'll return to the dimensional arena sooner or later. When the time comes, Those who cut off my path to wealth will have nowhere to go. Lin Jun, who had suffered a blow, didn't collapse like some people imagined. Instead, he calmed down. Chapter 551. Father, as expected, your methods are brilliant. Lin Jun has already been kicked out of the arena, running away with his tail between his legs. Haha. This was the first time Yihua had been so happy. Ever since Lin Jun had killed billions of insects on Sky Island, Yihua had been worried that Lin Jun would catch up and come looking for him to take revenge for Feng Qingwan. He even wanted to take the initiative to look for Lin Jun and have showdown. However, with the protection of the Chaos World King, he never had such an opportunity. Helpless, he could only work hard and train hard to prevent Lin Jun from coming looking for him one day. However, watching Lin Jun grow step by step and earn money wantonly in the arena, his heart was incomparably anxious. In the end, it was the Mechanical Realm King who took action and found someone to kick Lin Jun out of the arena. This made Yihua happy from the bottom of his heart. Son, that Lin Jun has been kicked out this time and won't be coming back for a while. Are you happy now? Father, although Lin Jun can't be in the arena, he is still free outside. With the protection of the Chaos World King, the arena isn't the only way to earn money. Oh, then what do you mean? Father, the Chaos World King has always been Lin Jun's protective umbrella. How about this? You can just lead the Chaos World King away. With the two of you not here, then I can openly make a move on Lin Jun. I also told you before that the grudge between me and Lin Jun will be settled by the two of us. The Mechanical Realm King thought for a moment. You are right. I shouldn't have interfered too much in your affairs. I decided to deal with Lin Jun, but instead caused that old man Chaos to target me. Now that I think about it, it was a failure. He stood up and walked around, the metal on his body making ka sounds. Son, even if you don't say this, I can't stay here for long. Father also has to pursue my own path. Yihua was stunned. The Mechanical Realm King had abandoned his body in pursuit of strength. Wasn't he unable to improve? Moreover, just what sort of road existed above the World King realm? My initial choice was wrong. Son, the World King realm is not the end of a martial artist. The so-called World King realm is a star boundary, a domain as large as our Fire Kirin Empire. But in the end, it is still a starry sky. There is a beginning, and there is also an end. Father, you mean? That's right. What I mean is that even a World King powerhouse has an upper limit to their lifespan. Ever since our Fire Kirin Empire was founded, especially in the middle to late stages, a World King would appear every 2 or 3 years. But where have all the World Kings gone in the last 100 million years? Some died, while others walked their own path and stepped onto a higher realm. The Mechanical Realm King patted his arm. I was too eager for quick success and abandoned my body, causing my strength to stagnate at the peak of the World King realm, unable to take another step forward. In truth, I should have followed the example of my seniors and focused on cultivating without caring about worldly affairs, all for the sake of pursuing that eternal boundary. The reason I meddled in your affairs was because I hoped that, after I left, you would be able to focus on cultivating without any threats. I wanted to help you eliminate Lin Jun ahead of time, but now it seems that I was wrong. If you don't experience the wind and rain, how can you grow? Father, are you going to leave? Yihua asked. Soon, in a year or two, most World Kings will leave. As long as they don't want to stay at the World King realm and die of old age, every World King will strive for that slim chance of survival. Once that is over, it will be eternal. As the Mechanical Realm King spoke, he patted Yihua's shoulder. Before I leave, cultivate with peace of mind. Father will take care of everything for you. Once I leave, everything will depend on you. Yihua nodded. Although he didn't know what was above the World King realm, he was still looking forward to that day. A large pile of fire crystals was completely absorbed by Lin Jun. Like this, 5 billion universe crystals were spent. But all of this was worth it. Lin Jun lifted his hand, a white flame dancing on his fingertips. When he first saw the little phoenix's firepower was also like this. Now, Lin Jun could be considered to have caught up to her footsteps. Chris, calculate for me. If I want to advance to a light blue flame, how much money do I need? Master, Ordinary fire crystals are no longer able to meet your current needs. If you want to advance to a light blue flame, then you will need fire crystal cores. As for the cost, you will need to clear your bank card. Lin Jun couldn't help but smack his lips as he heard this. He actually needed 50 billion. It could be said that ever since Lin Jun obtained the black hole beast physique, his path had been inextricably linked with money. The advancement of realms and the advancement of energy elements required a huge amount of money as a backing. Although Lin Jun had been working hard to earn money since then, it had also saved him a lot of time. Other people would need to cultivate for thousands of years to achieve this effect, but he only needed to devour once. Overall, it was very worth it. Although 50 billion was a lot, Lin Jun wasn't worried about it. After obtaining the white flame, his doppelganger could already forge a top-grade divine tool. Apart from heaven tools, top-grade divine tools were the best choice. Each of them was worth at least a few billion. It was just that forging them was quite difficult, and the materials weren't easy to obtain. Otherwise, 50 billion would be a piece of cake for Lin Jun. These things were naturally taken care of by his doppelganger. Lin Jun's current problem was to increase his strength as soon as possible. If I want to increase my star power, I currently have two methods. One is to advance my Dantian, and the other is to advance my dark star. The advancement of the Dantian required Lin Jun to cultivate step by step, but there was a shortcut to the advancement of the dark star. That was to continue buying the heart of the planet, allowing the life force on the dark star to increase further from the Mesozoic to the new generation. The heart of the planet was a very expensive item. Each one was worth tens of billions. Even for Lin Jun, it was not a small burden. He simply stayed at the south gate of the Chilean sacred planet. Originally, Lin Jun planned to return home to cultivate, but the cultivation environment on the Chilean sacred planet was better, and it was more convenient to buy items, so he didn't go home for the time being. In any case, he could meet his family in the dimensional universe every day. Now that he was free, as long as he was free, Yu and Ning would bring their children to see Lin Jun in the dimensional universe. The children had already grown up. When Lin Jun saw them yesterday, Lin Ping and Lin were already 6 years old. They had already grown into little boys, inheriting the excellent genes of Lin Jun and Ning. They were both well-known handsome boys. For the two little boys, their father was a great hero in their hearts. Their every move was intentionally or unintentionally imitating their father, hoping that one day they could be like their father and protect their family. Mayor Lin was 5 years old. She was a delicate and soft glutinous rice ball. Every time she saw her father, she would act coquettishly and shamelessly. She was completely different from her two older brothers. Su Mingyue's daughter was naturally very good-looking. Lin Jun couldn't get enough of her every time he saw her. Of course, his wife didn't come to see Lin Jun often. As martialists, they didn't have much time. They also had to cultivate. Now that Lin Jun couldn't use the star crystals in the star fruit tree, he would send them back to the solar system through his first eternal crystal spaceship. Lin Jun had also found a way to store star crystals. They wouldn't melt for a few months. With the supply of star crystals, his wife and parents' realms advanced by leaps and bounds. Su Mingyue and Ning had both cultivated to the 5th-level stellar stage and weren't far from the peak of the stellar stage. His parents had already cultivated to the peak of the comet stage and were about to enter the 3rd-level eternal realm. The dimensional universe was indeed convenient. When he missed his family, his wife could even accompany Lin Jun and do whatever she wanted. However, after the three of them slept together, Su Mingyue and Ning reminded Lin Jun not to look for them too often. They knew how urgent Lin Jun's cultivation was. Everything was fine at home, and they told Lin Jun not to worry. Lin Jun also listened to his wife's advice. He tried to reduce the time he saw them and focused on cultivation. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. Asterisk, 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 asterisk in the quiet room. Lin Jun was cultivating. The mutated black hole in his body swelled. After repeating this many times, it suddenly expanded outwards. Suddenly, the surging airwaves filled the entire room. The starlight shone brightly and illuminated the room. He had broken through. Middle stage black hole realm. The starlight airwaves rotated for a while before stopping. Lin Jun slowly opened his eyes. It's been 2 years. I've finally made progress in the black hole realm after Dark Star. I've entered the mid-stage. In the past 2 years, Lin Jun had made several breakthroughs. First, many supreme-grade divine weapons appeared, which allowed him to accumulate wealth quickly. In half a year, his flame power advanced again and reached the stage of light green. Light green flames could be used to forge heaven weapons. Lin Jun had the purple gas that opened up the Dark Star world in his body. He could use it to forge heaven weapons. First, he upgraded the yin-yang spears and edge spears to heaven weapons. Then, Lin Jun began his journey of forging heaven weapons. If he wanted his flames to advance from light green to medium green, he would need 500 billion universe crystals. Until now, Lin Jun had not accumulated 500 billion universe crystals. After all, it was difficult to forge heaven weapons. The materials were too difficult to obtain. He could only forge one heaven weapon after a few months. Currently, he only had 100 billion universe crystals. There was still a gap of 400 billion universe crystals. In the past 2 years, Dark Star advanced from the early stage of the Mesozoic era to the mid-stage. It gave Lin Jun an additional 800 universe crystals. Lin Jun only bought one heart of vegetation before stopping. This thing was simply too expensive. Otherwise, he wouldn't have only advanced by a small stage. This time, he had cultivated to the mid-stage of the black hole realm. His universe crystals had increased by more than 1,000 universe crystals. Lin Jun's universe crystals had reached 7,500 universe crystals. If I return to the arena now, it shouldn't be so bad that I won't be able to survive. I should be able to compete with the average veteran Nebula stage martial artist. But still not too safe. Like the mysterious generals, they probably have over 10,000 universe crystals. Only those with over 10,000 universe crystals can be called great gods. I haven't reached that level yet. After calculating the time, there were still 3 years before he could revive Little Phoenix. Lin Jun was not particularly anxious. He should cultivate for a while more. Chris's reminder suddenly sounded. Chapter 552. Hearing Chris's question, Lin Jun was a little speechless. What does she mean by which one to listen to first? Is there a difference? After Chris advanced, sometimes her words tend to be more humane, but she often makes some jokes such as this kind of stupid thing. Then, let's listen to the first good news first. The first good news is that the Mechanical King is about to leave the Holy Planet. Not only him, but many other king are also leaving. I don't know what they're going to do. You don't have to worry about his threat in the future. Oh, the king is leaving? Lin Jun was taken aback. He doesn't know what the king is going to do, but one thing is certain, it must be a big event, a very big event. However, the absence of the Mechanical King is indeed a good thing for Lin Jun. Although he has the protection of the Chaos World King, Lin Jun doesn't have to worry about his own safety, but he has no chance to deal with Yihua. What about the other good news? Master, there is news about the matter you asked me to pay attention to. In the Gemini star of the Sky River Empire, there's indeed a mountain falling from the sky. Great! Lin Jun stood up agitatedly, his emotions surging. Since his rebirth, Lin Jun's dependence on the memories of his previous life has become less and less. With the growth of his strength, even if he obtains the opportunities of his previous life, they won't be of much help to him. But there is one thing he remembers clearly. It happened inside the Sky River Empire. On the Gemini star, the capital of the Gemini star, a mountain broke through space and landed there. The name of this mountain is Mount Meru. There's a kind of glowing fluorite in the mountain. This kind of fluorite is useless to ordinary warriors, but after collecting it and taking it to the temple on the top of the mountain, one can find an intelligent life to exchange for treasures. There are many things like the heart of vegetation on the planet, and there are countless treasures there. They are usually rare. The treasure that left the deepest impression on Lin Jun is something called the Star Fantasy Stone. This thing is useless to ordinary people, but for warriors with avatars, it is a supreme treasure. After absorbing the power of the stone, the astral power of the main body and the clone could be transferred to each other. For example, In Lin Zhen's current situation, he had 7,500 astral points, and his doppelganger also had 6,000 astral points. When the time came, he could borrow the power of his doppelganger and transfer the 6,000 astral points of his doppelganger to himself. If the original body and the doppelganger worked together, they might not be a match for a master with more than 10,000 star power. However, after the transfer, the original body would have 13,500 star power. At that time, he could easily crush Xianjiang, a master with more than 10,000 star power. He had told Chris about this a long time ago, because he was afraid that he would forget. Now that he had obtained Chris's figure, he suddenly remembered. In his previous life, this star fantasy stone seemed to have been obtained by a martial artist called Fifth Ghost. Lin Zhen did not know who this Fifth Ghost was. However, he vaguely remembered that at that time, the people who went to Sumer Mountain to exchange for treasures were at the nebulous stage, and there were no celestial domain stage masters. He didn't know why at that time, but now that he thought about it, it might be because the celestial domain stage masters were paying attention to the World King's departure, so they missed this opportunity. The Star Fantasy Stone was the only treasure among all the treasures. Lin Zhen couldn't delay and immediately prepared to set off. The Skyfire shop was temporarily closed, and Lin Zhen also took away his doppelganger. Even before he left, Lin Zhen received a message from the Chaos World King, saying that he was leaving, but he told Lin Zhen not to worry. The Mechanical World King would also leave, and he wouldn't be in any danger. However, the Chaos World King didn't say what he was going to do. Maybe he felt that Lin Zhen's realm was too low, and it was useless to tell him. Lin Zhen didn't ask much. After bidding farewell to the Chaos World King, he left the Qilin Holy Star and went straight to his hometown, the Sky River Empire. Gemini Star is the capital planet of the Gemini constellation. It is the territory of a marquis of the Sky River Empire. However, since the arrival of Mount Sumru, the good days of this marquis have come to an end. A native explorer found a temple at the top of Mount Meru. After exchanging the fluorite he found for a small eternal crystal spaceship, he announced it to the dimensional universe. After that, he was no longer the local tyrant of this place. Cultivators are very sensitive. A mountain that can break through space and reach here must have a great origin. Suddenly, countless people in the entire Sky River Empire went to Mount Sumru to search for treasures. Then the news spread to the Sanjiang Federation, and more people came to this place. However, the realms of the people who came were uneven. Among them, there were even cultivators who had just reached the Star Realm. They all hoped to find fluorite here and exchange it for something good. Later, there were even cultivators from the Fire Qilin Empire, as well as cultivators from other universes that came. The later they came, the more powerful they were. Lin Zhen thought that he had been paying attention to this kind of thing for a long time, so he should have come early, but he didn't expect to receive a message from someone on the way. Master, someone is calling you in the multiverse. It's your friend Nicole. Do you want to connect? Nicole? Why is it him? Lin Zhen has a deep impression of the greedy dwarf Nicole. When he was in the World Stone, this kid made a lot of money, but after so many years, there's no news of him. He thought that he was just a passerby, but he didn't expect that he would come looking for him again. Connect. Sitting on the chair of the constant crystal spaceship, Lin Zhen connected to Nicole's message. Oh, my old friend Lin Zhen, how are you doing now? Do you ever miss your handsome old partner? In a virtual screen, the dwarf Nicole was wearing a suit of divine armor. It seems that she is doing very well. She was also sitting on a constant crystal spaceship talking to Lin Zhen. Most importantly, the dwarf Nicole is already a 5th-level galactic realm master, which really surprised Lin Zhen. You are doing well. Why are you in the mood to look for me today? Hee hee. Can't I talk to an old friend? Come on. You don't come here for no reason. Tell me, what's the matter? If there's nothing else, I still have something to do. I'm hanging up. Hey, don't. Can't you give me some face? Okay, I say, Lin Zhen, have you heard that the virtual mountain has landed on Gemini Star? Well, I heard about it. I was planning to go and take a look. How about it? That's great. I'm here at the virtual mountain now, but I'm not competitive enough alone. There are several great god-level masters here. With them around, others can't get much fluorite. You come over too. Let's work together. I'm sure we can get a lot of fluorite. Great God? What great God? Lin Jun asked. Who else can be called great God? Of course, it's those guys in the dimensional arena. You know Xian General, right? This kid is at the virtual mountain. I don't know how he got here so fast. Only one day later than me. Wait. Who are you talking about? Xian General? You know Xian General? How do you know him? Lin Jun immediately found the problem. Lin Jun, you can't be angry if I tell you. Actually, I'm in the dimensional arena, in the same small battle zone as you. I know everything about you, and I support you mentally, but, I can't afford to offend Xian General. Lin Jun was a little speechless. He understood the dwarf's words. Not everyone dared to offend the great god of the arena. He just didn't expect such a coincidence that he was in the same area as the dwarf. However, teaming up with the dwarf was indeed the best choice. The dwarf's innate ability to find treasures was the biggest help at times like this. Since Xian General was here, the dwarf's help would be indispensable if he wanted to get the Star Fantasy Stone before him. Okay, wait for me. I'll be there in one more day. Wow, you're so fast too. Aren't you at the Qilin's Sacred Planet? I'm at the Sanjiang Federation. That's why I'm so fast. I heard about this too, so I came over. I'll see you at Mount Meru. After cutting off the communication with the dimensional universe, the Eternity Crystal Battleship had entered the Milky Way. After flying in the parallel universe for a while and passing through 2 wormholes, Lin Jun even encountered several battleships on the way. Judging by the route, they were all heading toward the Gemini star. It seemed that Mount Meru had attracted a large number of martial artists. At noon the next day, Lin Jun's spaceship arrived at the Gemini star. The Gemini star was a relatively special planet. It was 2 huge planets that revolved around each other without colliding with each other. According to legend, this planet was a twin, which was why it was called Gemini. It was said that the person who inherited the Gemini star had both good and evil personalities. Lin Jun didn't care about this legend. He immediately flew toward the planet where Mount Meru was. This was different from the Qilin's Sacred Planet, which was bigger than the sun. It was just a planet about the size of Earth. There was no need to deliberately look for it. When he saw the huge shadow on a planet, he knew that it was where Mount Meru was. When the spaceship arrived above Mount Meru, Lin Jun called Nicole again. Nicole, I'm here. Where are you? I'm at the foot of Mount Meru, the entrance to the mountain. There's only one entrance to the mountain. The other places are very strange. There's no way to enter, and you can't fly or teleport. Come quickly, I have some trouble here. Lin Jun put away the spaceship and locked onto the entrance. He directly teleported and appeared here in the next second. After he appeared, he immediately saw a group of people not far away. They were surrounding a person and preparing to attack. It seemed to be the dwarf Nicole. One of them had a pair of huge wings. Lin Jun seemed to be familiar with him and immediately walked over. Lin Jun, you're here. Come and save me. These people want to snatch my fluorite. Hearing the dwarf Nicole's cry for help, before Lin Jun could say anything, the leader of the group suddenly turned around and looked at Lin Jun. Ga. This is really traveling far and wide only to find it by chance. Lin Jun, Lin Jun. I searched everywhere for you, but couldn't find you. I didn't expect you to come here to die. This time, you won't just lose 1 billion cosmos crystals. You'll lose your life. Lin Jun looked carefully and was stunned. Chapter 553. Upon seeing Ao Xiang, Lin Jun's eyes narrowed slightly. Both the mysterious general and Ao Xiang were here. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Soaring abandoned the dwarf Nicole and wobbled over to Lin Jun. Then he said to the people around him, Look carefully, this person is called Lin Jun. Back in the arena, he was chased out by us. He's like a stray dog who has nowhere else to go and begs for food everywhere he goes. I say, Lin Jun, you came here because you saw a chance to pick up some scraps, right? Unfortunately, you met me again. Are you feeling very depressed and unlucky now? The surrounding people burst into laughter. A level 6 Nebula martial artist asked, Boss Ao Xiang, is this Lin Jun the one you mentioned? The one who plotted against you in the arena with a self-detonation technique? He doesn't look like much. Do you want me to help you teach him a lesson? Humph. That time, I miscalculated and was tricked by this brat. However, he won't have such an opportunity again. Don't look at his realm. His strength can't be underestimated. You guys can just watch the show. Watch how I beat up a drowning dog today." As Zhao Xiang spoke, the huge wings on his body unfolded, and he was ready to attack. "Nicole, come over here." Lin Jun called Nicole over. At the same time, he said to Chris, "Check Aoxiang's star power." "Master, Aoxiang's star power 2 years ago was 7,000. Now, it's 7,300. Lin Jun nodded slightly. It was similar to his estimation. These veteran level 9 Nebula martial artists generally had more than 6,000 to 7,000 star power. However, it was rare for them to reach 10,000 star power. Once they reached 10,000 star power, they would become a great god. Although 7,300 star power was not bad, it was not enough for Lin Jun today. He raised his hand, and the yin-yang spear appeared. After being forged with a light green flame, the yin-yang spear was upgraded again and reached the level of a low-grade celestial weapon. As soon as the spear was out, black and white airflows surrounded it, creating a whirlwind around it. F*CK. You actually have a celestial weapon spear. This gun is even better than the one I used. Lin Jun, this gun belongs to me now. Soaring's eyes widened, revealing a look of greed. With a flick of the spear in his hand, he charged towards Lin Jun. He still remembered that in the last battle, he had fought fast and relied on his astral powers to suppress Lin Jun, making him unable to use any of his skills. Today, he wanted to use the same trick again. But this time, Lin Jun didn't choose to defend like an immovable mountain. His absolute power had already surpassed Soaring, so there was no need for him to blindly defend. Collapse. Lin Jun's first move was his current strongest spear technique, the 8th move of the 9-layered spear river. With a single spear strike, space shattered. Clang! The sound of the collision was deafening. After Soaring Spear and Lin Jun clashed once, Soaring Spear felt the web between his thumb and forefinger go numb. His body staggered backwards. This is impossible. His eyes almost fell out of their sockets. Lin Jun's absolute power had actually surpassed his. Only 2 years had passed, and Lin Jun had only advanced from the initial stage to the middle stage of the black hole realm. How could he have surpassed him? One had to know that his astral power had reached 7,300. But regardless of whether he believed it or not, Lin Jun had already attacked with his spear. The sky was filled with spear shadows, and his domain power was formed. Clang, 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 clang. After a series of collisions, time suddenly stopped. If one's absolute power was lower than Lin Jun's, one wouldn't be able to break Lin Jun's time force field. After 1/100th of a second of stillness, Soaring Spear's throat had a big hole. Blood gushed out like a fountain. Soaring Spear covered his throat and retreated, unwilling to believe that everything was real. Soaring Spear, life is full of ups and downs. Your era has already passed. You were right about one thing. This time, you didn't lose 1 billion cosmos crystals, but your life. Lin Jun grabbed Soaring Spear's interspatial ring. After grabbing it, he remembered that he didn't have Soul Lock. If there was a bank card inside, then he would have suffered a huge loss. He opened it, and, as expected, there was a bank card inside. Soaring Spear's corpse fell to the ground. Lin Jun's gaze swept across the people who followed Soaring Spear. These people's realms weren't high, and the highest amongst them was only a level 7 nebula realm. They weren't enough. All of you, hand over all your wealth, and I can spare your lives. The domain power enveloped everyone, and the surrounding planets floated. As long as Lin Jun activated the Milky Way star explosion, these people would all die. Soaring Spear had been stabbed to death by Lin Jun. Of course, these people, who regarded Soaring Spear as a god, wouldn't dare to resist Lin Jun. Only one of them tried to act rashly, but he was turned into an idiot by Lin Jun's spiritual attack. After that, no one dared to resist. The transfer of money was carried out on the spot. No one dared to hide anything, as there were artificial intelligences monitoring everything. The passwords had been given out, so it was impossible to hide anything. There were 12 people, and a total of more than 30 billion cosmos crystals were transferred. Not bad. My Supreme 9-star bank card has added some more points. They received a huge sum of money, but they didn't find any fluorite. These people had just arrived at Meru Mountain, so they hadn't found any fluorite yet. A large group of martialists surrounded them, watching and pointing at Lin Jun and the others. Others didn't know about Lin Jun and Soaring Spear, but in their opinion, Lin Jun was undoubtedly a super expert. He must be a level 9 Nebula realm hidden, so they couldn't afford to offend him. Unknowingly, Lin Jun had become a powerhouse in the hearts of the other martialists. Lin Jun didn't make things difficult for them. Instead, he let them go. With so many people watching, killing them wouldn't be able to keep it a secret. Lin Jun, on the other hand, walked up to Nicole. Nicole looked at Lin Jun with admiration. Lin Jun, I think you are the #1 genius in the entire universe. You actually killed Soaring Spear. You should know that he was the leader of Mysterious General's henchmen. He was used to being bossy and domineering. You can even kill him. Sooner or later, you will take care of Mysterious General and dominate the arena. Stop flattering me. Take out your fluorite and let me have a look. Nicole took out a small stone from her interspatial ring. It emitted a soft light like a pearl, but its shape was rhombus-shaped. It doesn't seem to be of any use. However, since it is being purchased, it must be something good. Lin Jun put the fluorite into the interspatial ring. Let's go. Let's go out and look for it. The dwarf immediately followed. Many nebula stage, black hole stage, and even stellar stage martialists made way for them. This made the dwarf feel like he was a fox taking advantage of the tiger's might. Lin Jun, let's go up the mountain. However, be careful. Mysterious General won't let you go since you killed Soaring Spear. Lin Jun glanced around. There were many aircraft parked here. Some martialists' aircraft were larger, but they didn't have enough interspatial rings. They could only park outside. There are a lot of people here. Yes, and there are many masters. Among them, Fifth Ghost is the strongest. However, you don't have to worry. With my treasure hunting ability and your spiritual power, we will find a lot of fluorites. We just have to find that intelligent life to exchange for... Wait, you said Fifth Ghost. Who is Fifth Ghost? Lin Jun's heart moved. This person was the biggest winner in his previous life. Who was he? Wow, you don't know Fifth Ghost? You have wasted your time in the arena. One of the 7 malefic stars of the 68th district, Fifth Ghost God. So, it's one of the 7 malefic stars. Who are these 7 malefic stars? These 7 people are incredible. They are super masters who have inherited the malefic star's inheritance. They are Rahu, Jidu, Pajun, Fifth Ghost, 7 Kills, Yuing, and Inghua. Each of them can be said to be invincible in the nebula stage. It is said that they once joined forces to challenge the Star Domain stage and succeeded. Joined forces to challenge the Star Domain stage? So strong? Lin Jun was also very surprised. They were not on the same level as him. They are indeed very strong. However, I believe that Lin Jun, you will surpass them one day. Let's go. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. You said Soaring Spear is dead, and he was killed by Lin Jun. In Mount Meru, Mysterious General was fighting with a group of demonic beasts. He was furious when he heard the news. He waved the sword in his hand and killed 2 attacking apes in succession. This kind of long-armed ape strength was comparable to an ordinary nebula stage martial artist. Ordinary martial artists were no match for it. In the depths of Mount Meru, there were not many ordinary martial artists. This was because there were ape-type demonic beasts everywhere. It was unknown what species they were, but each of them was powerful and had a fierce temperament. Ordinary martial artists died before they could reach the depths. Therefore, although there are many people here, martial artists below the black hole stage were just bystanders. Seeing the enraged Xian general, a martial artist beside him with a pale face and white eyes without any black pupils raised his head and glanced at him. With this look, Mysterious General could not help but have a layer of white sweat on his back. He immediately calmed down. Lord Fifth Ghost, what made you lose your composure? It's like this. Back then, I banned a martial artist in the arena. That kid withdrew from the arena. However, just now, he actually killed one of my subordinates. Soaring Spear, you have seen him before. He is the Sky Eagle race martial artist who has followed me for hundreds of years. Oh, I have some impression of him. He's the one with wings. That kid's strength is not bad, but he died just like that. Who killed him? Someone called Lin Jun and nobody. You definitely don't know him. But Fifth Ghost blinked. That's not necessarily true. I've heard the name Lin Jun twice. The first time was when the Mechanical World King looked for Ing Hua to ban someone. You were the one who did it, right? Is that person Lin Jun? That's him. The other time was several days ago when the World King powerhouses left. I heard a friend say that the Mechanical World King's son, Yi Hua, left seclusion and said that he had to kill someone. That person is Lin Jun. Mysterious General nodded. That should be right. It is him. He has a grudge with the Mechanical World King and his son, yet he has lived for so long. It is truly a miracle. Fifth Ghost patted his shoulder. Mysterious General, don't be too excited. Yiwa also came to Mount Meru this time. Do you think he has the confidence to kill Lin Jun? Mysterious General thought for a moment. Lin Jun can kill Soaring Spear, but I don't think his chances are high. That's good. If Yihua can't succeed, he will definitely ask for help. Who do you think he will ask for help? He will definitely beg us. Mysterious General immediately said. That's right. If he comes to us, he will naturally pay a price. When the time comes, we will kill Lin Jun. Not only will we help your subordinate take revenge, but we will also gain some income. Why wouldn't we do it? Moreover, his subordinate, if he dies, then he dies. As long as he lives, then that is enough. Looking at Fifth Ghost's white eyes, Mysterious General unconsciously nodded. Lord Fifth Ghost, you are right. I was too reckless. Chapter 554. Lin Jun, be careful. The visibility here is very low. There's a fluorite area in front of us for another 20 miles. Lin Jun and Nicole trekked in Mount Meru. Lin Jun held the yin-yang spear and was on guard against any sudden appearance of ape-type demonic beasts. There were too many monkeys here. The weakest macaque was at the stellar level. There were also apes and orangutans. Each was stronger than the other, and they were in groups. Many martial artists who came in the beginning had left. Without strength, they wouldn't have a share of these fluorites. Roar! A few roars came from the front. About 7 to 8 5-meter-tall demonic beasts with black fur all over their bodies appeared. These guys had arms as thick as iron pillars. They had green faces and fangs. They were a group of mutated baboons. Be careful. These baboons are at the stellar level. Lin Jun, you go. The dwarf immediately used Earth Escape. Lin Jun was in charge of fighting. He raised his spear and attacked without saying a word. The baboons' bodies were as hard as low-grade divine artifacts. They couldn't withstand a single blow from the yin-yang spear. They were quickly eliminated by Lin Jun. With a star power of 7,500, Lin Jun didn't have many enemies in the stellar level. Even stellar level, 9 martial artists were rarely his opponents, let alone these stellar-level demonic beasts. After killing all the baboons, the dwarf came out of the soil. Lin Jun, you are really strong. If I were a woman, I would marry you. Lin Jun strode over and stomped the dwarf who had just crawled out back into the dirt. If you were a woman, I'd destroy you and chop you into pieces. It was really cool to team up with the dwarf. This guy was really good at finding treasures. Lin Jun had just walked into the valley he pointed out when he stepped on a fluorite. Lin Jun picked up the fluorite and spread his spiritual power. Not only was teleportation prohibited here, but the spiritual power of martial artists was also greatly suppressed. If they were in the outside world, Lin Jun's emerald ray spiritual power could easily cover half the planet. However, here it could barely cover 1/10 of the valley. However, such an area was not small. If it was a sky blue spiritual power, it could only cover 1/100th of the valley. Wherever the spiritual power passed, it was immediately clear where the fluorites were. When they were halfway through the valley, the two of them had already harvested more than 7,000 fluorites. Lin Jun had more than 4,000, and the dwarf had found 3,000. Keep working hard, Lin Jun. With Dimensional Universe should have received the exchange information. In the temple at the top of the mountain, and that laser sword, and its worth. And that laser sword. 1. It's and in it, and that laser sword. Lin Jun also opened the dimensional universe at this time. After entering Mount Meru, the artificial life in the temple at the top of the mountain immediately sent and exchanged information to everyone. On the information sheet, there were hundreds of items that could be exchanged for. Among them, the exchange price of a Star Fantasy Stone was not high. It was only 8,000 fluorites. Perhaps many people did not know the use of the Star Fantasy Stone, but it was of great use to Lin Jun. In addition to the Star Fantasy Stone, there were many valuable things. For example, the most expensive one was a set of swordsmanship called Taiyuan swordsmanship. This set of swordsmanship was said to be created by the ancient gods and was extremely powerful. Most people used the swordsmanship. This set of swordsmanship was divided into 3 sets. The exchange price of the first set was 30,000 fluorites. The second set was 40,000 fluorites, and the third set was 50,000 fluorites. Lin Jun estimated that the most powerful people here would focus on the swordsmanship. However, Lin Jun did not use swords. His goal was the Star Fantasy Stone. He already had 4,000. If he could find another 4,000, he would directly go to the temple at the top of the mountain and exchange for the Star Fantasy Stone. While digging for fluorites, Lin Jun studied the exchange list. After a while, he suddenly stood up and looked into the distance. "Nicole, be careful. Someone is coming." The dwarf immediately stopped moving. "Ka-bie, ka-bie." The sound of metal machinery came from the distance. It was very fast. In less than half a minute, a large group of robots rushed in from the entrance of the valley. Although they were called robots, they had the appearance of a human. They held various weapons in their hands. Some were ranged, and some were like an army. In the center, there was a 4-meter-tall robot. On its back, there was a crystal control panel. There was a person sitting inside. It was Yihua. "Yihua, you actually came here to find me." Lin Jun was surprised. After seeing Lin Jun, Yihua laughed heartily. "Lin Jun, there should be an end between us. Back then, you ran away from the chaotic Star River. Let's see where you can run off to today." "Just by you? Then come and try." Lin Jun was not afraid of Yihua. In terms of star power, Lin Jun was even a bit higher. Even soaring Lin Jun was killed. Yihua, a martial artist who was not even 100 years old, was not in Lin Jun's eyes. "No, I won't be so stupid as to take the initiative to fight you. Do you see these metal robots? These are the mechanical guards that my father left for me before he left. Every one of them will surprise you. If you have the ability to defeat them, then come and challenge me." The row of metal robots behind him held laser guns in their hands. These laser guns originated from the Divine Armament Clan. They fired star power bullets with infinite power. When he saw those laser guns, Lin Jun immediately thought of the Divine Armament Clan martial artists in the dimensional arena. "Dwarf, retreat. Contact the dimensional universe." Before Lin Jun could finish speaking, the dwarf Nicole had already drilled into the ground. After reaching the nebulous stage, her Earth escape ability had become stronger and stronger. Lin Jun also transformed into his armor at once and leaped into the distance. As soon as he moved, a star power bullet hit the spot where he had been standing. Rumble. The huge explosion made Lin Jun's body sway. He forcibly twisted his waist and dodged another star power bullet. He was ready to rush toward Yihua. Before Lin Jun could rush forward, the metal men had already rushed over. These melee metal men were comparable to a level 9 nebula, and they were very strong. Each of them was equivalent to a warrior at Soaring's level. Before the two sides made contact, Lin Jun knew that things were not good. He had to admit that having a good father was a good thing. Yihua did not need to do anything himself. The things left behind by the Mechanical Realm King were enough for him to move unhindered in the nebulous stage. Lin Jun was decisive enough. When the metal robots rushed over, he immediately took a detour and sent out a space slash to block the metal men. Then, with the help of the black hole Be-Strong physique, he continuously jumped and quickly flew away. The metal men were not humans. Their fighting ability was strong, but their tracking ability was much worse. After a while, Lin Jun's shadow was nowhere to be seen. Damn it. You can escape this time, but you won't be so lucky next time. Yihua could not find Lin Jun. He did not dare to leave the metal men to chase after him, so he simply dug on the spot. However, most of the fluorite here had been dug up by Lin Jun and the others. Yihua's harvest was not big, only a few hundred fluorites, but it was enough to make him very satisfied. After the mechanical realm king left, he left most of his wealth to Yihua. The wealth of a pinnacle realm king was unimaginable. This made Yihua top tycoon. These metal men were one of the assets left behind by the mechanical realm king. Each of them had the strength of a level 9 nebula. When they fought together, their power was endless. After getting these, he came to find Lin Jun for revenge. However, he did not expect that Lin Jun would escape. While commanding the metal robots to dig for fluorites, he opened the exchange list. Taiyuan Sword Art. There are a total of 3 stages. As long as I get this, my strength will definitely multiply. At that time, I won't have to rely on the metal robots anymore. I will also become a great god in the arena. Lin Jun was far away in the forest. He glanced at Yihua and turned to leave. With the metal robots protecting him, Lin Jun would not be easy to deal with. He had to find a way to destroy these metal men. Nicole, are you dead? If you're not dead, come here. The dwarf came over after a long time. As soon as he came out, he immediately said to Lin Jun, Lin Jun, it's not good. The mysterious general blocked the path to the temple and did not let anyone pass. They intend to monopolize all the treasures. Oh, is there only one path up the mountain? Yes, there's a path leading to the temple. I went over there just now and saw Xianjiang leading dozens of nebula level 9 soldiers to block the path up the mountain. Then, 5th Ghost led his men to look for fluorite. It won't be long before 5th Ghost goes over to exchange for treasures. Lin Jun looked up at the top of the mountain. If that's the case, then it's really troublesome. Yes, the mysterious general is very strong. With just the 2 of us, I'm afraid we can't break through his blockade unless we have a large group of companions. Lin Jun thought for a moment. How many people are here now? It doesn't matter how many there are. This is the Gemini star. The 5th Ghost and the mysterious general are the top fighting forces here. Moreover, the mysterious general said that as long as the 5th Ghost exchanged for the Taiyuan sword technique, he would open the path up the mountain and let others exchange for the remaining treasures. They did this to ensure that the Taiyuan sword technique would not fall into the hands of others. Lin Jun stood in place and paced back and forth for a while. Then he suddenly blinked. Say, if Yihua gets a lot of fluorites, will he immediately exchange for the Taiyuan sword technique? Nicole was stunned for a moment. She did not understand what Lin Jun meant, but she still nodded. Probably. Every martial artist who uses a sword can't resist the temptation of the Taiyuan sword technique. It was left behind by the ancient gods. That's it. Lin Jun clapped his hands. Nicole suddenly understood. Your idea is good, but I'm afraid that Yihua will be too slow to find it and won't be in a hurry to go up the mountain. Chapter 555. Lin Jun and the dwarf avoided the crowd and began to dig all the way. With the dwarf's treasure hunting ability and Lin Jun's spiritual power, the 2 of them specifically chose places where the fluorite was concentrated to dig, and the harvest was incomparably rich. Inside Shumi Mountain, the number of people looking for fluorite after the big wave of elimination was about less than 10,000 people. After all, this was a universe with a primary civilization. Nebula stage experts were emperors. Even if it was the Sanjiang Federation, there would not be too many nebula stage experts. But Lin Jun believed that no one could compare with his and the dwarf's digging speed. Even if the 5th Ghost group of people added together, it would still not be enough. After 3 days of digging, Lin Jun and the dwarf had already harvested 80,000 fluorite. Lin Jun, the 2 of us have dug a lot. Can we start the plan? Lin Jun shook his head. No, we don't have enough at the moment. Even if we continue to dig, it will not be the critical time. Another day passed. When the 2 of them had accumulated 110,000 fluorite, Lin Jun suddenly discovered that the first layer of the Taiyuan sword art in the treasure list had already been exchanged. The first layer of the sword art required 30,000 fluorite. It was not easy for the fifth ghost to accumulate 30,000 fluorite at this time. Lin Jun raised his head. It's about time. The fifth ghost exchanged for the first layer of the sword art. The others should not be able to sit still. It's time to act. That afternoon, when Yihua was anxiously looking for fluorite everywhere, he once again accidentally encountered Lin Jun. Yihua drove his metal robot to chase after him. Lin Jun might have been chased anxiously. He actually threw out a big bag of fluorite, no less than tens of thousands of fluorite. Yihua was afraid that the fluorite would be taken away by others, so he had to shout at Lin Jun, "Lin Jun, this is the money for your life." When he got the fluorite, he was immediately overjoyed, because there were 40,000 fluorite. What could he do with 40,000 fluorite? He could immediately go to the temple at the top of the mountain to exchange for the second layer of the Taiyuan sword art. Yihua knew how precious the Taiyuan sword art was. However, the 3 layers of the sword art were indispensable, especially the second layer. As long as he obtained it, the fifth ghost would never be able to learn it. At that time, Yihua would be able to negotiate with fifth ghost. Regardless of whether fifth ghost obtained the third layer or not, Yihua would still be able to buy it from the other party. Of course, fifth ghost would definitely want to buy Yihua's, but Yihua would not sell it to him. Although fifth ghost was a great god of the arena, Yihua was the son of the world king, so fifth ghost didn't dare to do anything to him. If it was a competition of wealth, Yihua, who had obtained more than half of the mechanical realm king's wealth, would not be afraid of anyone in a competition of wealth. Most importantly, he had to master the first level of the Taiyuan sword technique. Only then would he be qualified to negotiate. Lin Jun, this idiot, actually abandoned 40,000 fluorites and ran for his life. I'm lucky. Yihua excitedly drove a large group of robots straight to the top of the mountain. But when he reached the mountainside, he met Xianjiang. When Xianjiang saw Yihua, he frowned slightly. This Yihua was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He was not even 100 years old, but he had already cultivated to level 9 galactic system. But in terms of talent, Xianjiang was not convinced. He only had a good father, a world king, as his father. Even if he was a pig, if he was wholeheartedly nurtured for 100 years, he would still become a flying pig. Therefore, Xianjiang did not have a good impression of this kind of second generation. When he saw Yihua, he immediately walked forward. Yihua, this path is blocked. Blocked? Why is it blocked? Fifth ghost is currently excavating fluorites at the top of the mountain. When he finishes exchanging for the Taiyuan sword technique, I will open the path. But at that time, young master Yihua can exchange for whatever he wants. Hearing this, Yihua sneered. When fifth ghost finishes exchanging for the sword technique, then what am I going to do? Xianjiang, we have always minded our own business. You better step aside. Xianjiang's face also turned cold. His sense of rejection towards this second-generation young master rose. Then I'm truly sorry, but I cannot allow you to walk this path today. Yihua, even if your father is a world king, you are still not my match here. I don't want to have any conflict with you, so you'd best not bring shame upon yourself. Bah! Yihua did not need to maintain any demeanor here. Xianjiang, I think you're the one who does not know how to appreciate kindness. I will ask again, are you going to step aside? Xianjiang led a group of subordinates to block the path. His eyes carried contempt as he looked at Yihua. Good. You asked for it yourselves. Yihua raised his hand. Streams of light danced and hundreds of metal robots came out from his interspatial ring. This group of fellows blocking the path. Kill them without mercy. Robots had no emotions and only knew how to obey orders. Once Yihua gave the order, the battle instantly began. Xianjiang did not expect Yihua to have such a move. These metal robots were invulnerable and had extremely strong killing power. They were really hard to deal with. However, fifth ghost was on the mountain. Xianjiang did not dare to let Yihua go up the mountain. He could only brace himself and lead his subordinates to resist. Hundreds of metal robots and 50 to 60 powerful level 9 galactic martial artists began an intense battle in the middle of the mountain path. In a one-on-one battle, the martial artists had a slight advantage. However, the robots were not afraid of death. No one wanted to die together with the robots. There was no value in that. Therefore, the battle was incomparably fierce. The robots fell one by one, and the martial artists inevitably suffered many casualties. This way, Xinjiang could no longer block the mountain path. The martial artists in the distance who were attracted saw an opportunity and immediately rushed up. The robot's target was not them, so they did not need to worry about anything. Among them, there was a spear-wielding martial artist who casually flipped over a few martial artists on the way, causing Xinjiang's team to be utterly defeated. "That is Lin Jun. Bastard, it must be him," Xinjiang shouted angrily. He wanted to chase after Lin Jun, but the large robot that Yihua was piloting fired a series of fierce cannons, forcing him to retreat. He could only watch as Lin Jun mixed in with a large group of martial artists and headed to the top of the mountain. Yihua did not continue to fight with Xinjiang. He drove the large robot and ran all the way up the mountain. "Boss Fifth Ghost, not good. The martial artists are rushing up the mountain. That idiot Yihua seems to have been used by Lin Jun," Xinjiang excitedly shouted in the dimensional universe. However, it was too late. Fifth Ghost and the others were looking for fluorites and were rather far from the temple. By the time he rushed back to the temple, it was already full of people. Inside the temple, a female artificial intelligence wearing metal armor with most of her skin exposed was floating in the air. There were laser guns everywhere. They were so densely packed that there was no blind spot. On the ground, hundreds of corpses were lying on the ground, proving that violence was prohibited here. The artificial intelligence held a staff in her hand and looked completely human. She said to the martial artists below, "Violence is prohibited in my temple. You can all trade with me. As long as you pay me enough fluorites, you can get everything you want." Every martial artist opened the exchange list and chose what they liked. Yihua acted immediately in exchange for the second stage of the Taiyuan sword technique. After spending 40,000 fluorites and obtaining the sword technique, Yihua let out a long sigh of relief. He had made up his mind that unless he died, no one would be able to take the Taiyuan sword technique away from him. This way, he would have the opportunity to gather the 3 sword techniques sooner or later. Just as he finished exchanging for the second stage, the third stage disappeared. He did not know who had exchanged for it. Who could it be? Yihua searched through the crowd and saw Lin Jun. Yihua's heart was suddenly filled with doubt. In order to obtain the Taiyuan sword technique, he had paid a heavy price this time. A large number of metal robots had been lost in the battle with Xinjiang and the others. Now that he was facing Lin Jun, he no longer had a crushing advantage. However, he still walked in front of Lin Jun and looked at Lin Jun. "It was you. You exchanged for the third stage of the Taiyuan sword technique, right?" Lin Jun shrugged his shoulders. "You can guess. You don't need to be pretentious with me. If you can get 40,000 fluorites, then you can get even more. Other than Fifth Ghost, no one else can get so many fluorites in such a short time. Fifth Ghost has just exchanged for the first stage, so he doesn't have any left." Lin Jun did not answer him. Yihua continued to speak. "Lin Jun, don't think that I don't know your tricks. You deliberately threw the fluorites to me just to make me open the passage. However, your goal is also the Taiyuan sword technique, right? If I'd been a step slower, you would have obtained the second and third stage of the Taiyuan sword technique. Now, you must be regretting it, right? Do you want to buy the second stage of the sword technique from me? I advise you to give up. No matter how much money you pay, I won't sell it. No matter how much money you pay, I won't sell it." Looking at Yihua's somewhat hysterical appearance, Lin Jun did not pay attention to him. Instead, he immediately exchanged for the purpose of his trip the Star Fantasy Stone. Lin Jun was one of the first to arrive. His hands were quick, so without any delay, he immediately exchanged for the Star Fantasy Stone. There were even sounds of regret at the scene. Lin Jun was not the only one who fancied this stone. However, some people did not have that many fluorites, and some people were too slow, so Lin Jun still obtained it. After exchanging for the Star Fantasy Stone, Lin Jun immediately exchanged for the third stage of the sword technique to prevent others from exchanging it. Of the 110,000 fluorites, he threw 40,000 to Yihua and exchanged 50,000 for the third stage of the sword technique. He spent another 8,000 for the star fantasy stone. Lin Jun still had 12,000 fluorites, which he exchanged for 4 planet heart of vegetation. The remaining 10,000 fluorites were given to the dwarves to use. Yihua, who was in front of him, was still chattering away. Lin Jun, you're destined to lose everything. I advise you to consider selling the third stage of the Taiyuan sword technique to me. This young master will give you a suitable price. Lin Jun completely ignored Yihua. Instead, he looked at the list of treasures, his heart secretly regretting. What a pity. There are so many treasures. As long as you have fluorites, you can exchange for them. However, I don't have any fluorites right now. Chapter 556. Lin Jun picked up the Star Fantasy Stone and looked at it. The Star Fantasy Stone was a beautiful little stone with 2 sides. One side was real and the other was illusory. The real side represented the main body and the illusory side represented the avatar. Only this kind of stone could combine the star energy of the main body and the avatar into one. However, absorbing the Star Fantasy Stone would require some time. There was not enough time now because with the influx of people, the treasures here were getting lesser and lesser. After all, Mount Meru had been open for close to a month. When Lin Jun first came, he was not among the first batch. Although he knew about this matter, he had forgotten when it happened. After all, no one could remember the specific date of something that happened 1,000 years ago. Lin Jun looked around and discovered that Yihua had already left at an unknown time. Just as he was about to leave, Chris suddenly spoke. Master, you're leaving just like that? What else do I want to do? Of course it's to exchange for treasures. Master, look, the treasures here are getting lesser and lesser. However, there's still a few that are very valuable. Right now, people are coming from the foot of the mountain. If they are late, I guarantee that there won't be any more treasures here, and they will all be taken away. But I don't have any more fluorites. You can buy them. Buy them on the spot. There are many people here who don't have enough fluorites to exchange for treasures and are looking for buyers. If you buy them now, you can definitely make a huge profit. Lin Jun's eyes lit up. That's right. Because of the competitive relationship between warriors, there were very few transactions. However, wasn't this a good opportunity? Lin Jun immediately announced in the regional dimensional universe that he would buy 1 fluorite for 10 cosmos crystals. 10 cosmos crystals did not sound like much. However, when exchanged, that was 1 million Chilean dollars. 1 million Chilean dollars for 3 river dollars. That was 1 billion. 1 billion 3 river dollars in a primary civilization universe country. Even if one did not become the richest person in the country, in a normal life planet, or even in a small planet, one would definitely become the richest person. Many warriors who had 1 billion 3 river dollars would choose to live in seclusion and find a life planet to be the local tyrant. They could live freely for thousands or tens of thousands of years. That was a very good choice. Therefore, the price Lin Jun offered was definitely not low. It should be known that not all the warriors here were from advanced civilizations. Most of them were from intermediate civilizations or even elementary civilizations. 10 cosmos crystals for 1 fluorite. This made many people go crazy. Lin Jun's dimensional universe system immediately received countless transaction requests. Lin Jun had already instructed Chris to immediately accept all normal transactions. With his net worth of hundreds of billions, Lin Jun didn't care about such a small amount of money. Crazy Speed was very fast. She immediately accepted all the transaction records. Before Lin Jun took the initiative to cancel the transaction, he couldn't trade with anyone else. This was the binding force of the dimensional universe's trading system. When Lin Jun stated the price, many people reacted and wanted to buy the second batch of fluorite. However, most of the fluorite was taken away by Lin Jun first. Yihua, who had made a fortune, offered a price of 100 cosmos crystals for 1 fluorite. This could be considered as pulling away many people. However, no matter what, he couldn't be compared to Lin Jun. In an instant, Lin Jun obtained more than 100,000 fluorite. These people had already completed their transactions and had no choice but to come to the deity temple to complete the transaction with Lin Jun. However, their hearts were already ruined. Chris, what should I exchange for? Master, I have already seen a few things. You should first exchange for that dual-wielding secret manual. If you learn it, you will be able to use 2 spears in battle. At least in a group battle, your killing power will be doubled. Lin Jun immediately exchanged for 10,000 fluorite. There's also that most expensive one, star gold. It is an essential material for forging heaven equipment. This big piece of 70,000 fluorite is the best material for forging heaven equipment after you take it. Lin Jun immediately exchanged for the remaining tens of thousands of fluorites. He exchanged for whatever he had and spent them all in one go. By the time Lin Jun had finished his sweep, there were only a few treasures left. Very quickly, the last few treasures were also exchanged. When all the treasures were exchanged, the AI in the deity temple said, "All the treasures here have been exchanged. The deity temple will be closed soon. Everyone may leave. Lin Jun, let's go." The dwarf Nicole had obtained several things she liked and was also very happy. Lin Jun followed Nicole out of the deity temple and went down the mountain along the mountain path. In the dimensional universe, Yihua had just finished purchasing fluorite when he saw the news that all the treasures had been exchanged. Fuck, Lin Jun, that bastard, he actually tricked me. The veins on his forehead couldn't help but twitch. Yihua's anger had already reached its peak. Needless to say, he knew that Lin Jun would absolutely not sell the Taiyuan sword technique to him. However, he was determined to get this sword technique. If he let Yihua go and snatch it from Lin Jun, he wouldn't have the confidence to win against Lin Jun after losing his metal robots. After thinking for a while, he contacted Xian General in the dimensional universe. "Yihua, you still have the face to look for me." Seeing Yihua's message, Xian General was furious. After being attacked by Yihua's metal robots for a while, his subordinates had also suffered heavy casualties. Because of this, Five Go's plan to buy the Taiyuan sword technique was also ruined. If not for Yihua's father being the mechanical realm king, Xian General would have already gone to find Yihua for revenge. "Xian General, you don't have to shout at me. Our matters are separate matters. Now, I have a business deal with you. 30 billion cosmos crystals. If you think you can do it, then do it. If you can't, then forget it. Oh, tell me about it. Lin Jun, I want this brat to not be able to leave the mountain. Kill him on Mount Meru for me. Can you do it?" Xian General didn't say anything. Actually, even if Yihua didn't say anything, Xian General still wanted to get rid of Lin Jun. 30 billion cosmos crystals was quite a lot, but Xian General still wanted to put on airs. This price might not be enough. You, Yihua, are now a rich man. 30 billion shouldn't be too much for you. Xian General, don't go overboard. If we weren't on Mount Meru, do you think I would look for you? After leaving the mountain, not to mention 30 billion, even 300 million cosmos crystals will be sold by a large number of people. Moreover, that brat Lin Jun should have quite a few good things. When you kill him, it will all be yours. If you don't agree, then forget it. I don't mind waiting for a while more. Deal. Transfer the money. Xian General was also afraid that Yihua would go back on his words, so he simply agreed. This is 15 billion cosmos crystals. Keep it well, and I'll give you the other half after the matter is done. All right, I still understand these rules. Just wait for my good news. Since Xian General accepted Yihua's request, he immediately took action. He would pay 1 million cosmos crystals to those who spread the news in the dimensional universe and provided information about Lin Jun's location. This price was enough to make many people not care about their lives. Immediately, everyone on Mount Meru moved and searched for Lin Jun's whereabouts. "Lin Jun, I'm leaving." At the foot of the mountain, the dwarf Nicole was preparing to leave. This time, following Lin Jun could be considered to have gained quite a lot. She was also very satisfied. "Nicole, do you have a battle team in the arena?" Lin Jun asked. "I have one. I'm just a bystander. Don't stay in that battle team. Wait for my news. We'll form a team together." "I don't have a battle team now." "That's good. I believe Lin Jun. When you return to the arena, you'll definitely be able to teach Xian General and the others a lesson. I'll wait for your news. However, it's not good for the two of us to form a team. You don't have to worry about this. I'll look for more people. I'll definitely find him. The dwarf Nicole was relieved. She told Lin Jun to be careful. Now that people were looking for Lin Jun all over the mountain, it wouldn't be easy for him to leave Mount Meru. Lin Jun waved his hand, indicating that it was okay. The dwarf left alone. Lin Jun had long been thinking about forming a battle team. Now that he had the Star Fantasy Stone, he didn't need to fear anyone in the arena. However, he needed teammates. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to participate in the team battle. He already had a goal in his heart. One was Yin Xie. As an Earthling, he would definitely come over to join him. The other was Nicole. There were also two names he saw in the arena. They were old acquaintances. One was from the Sanjiang Federation. She was the princess of the Blackwing clan, Zi Qinxia. The princess of the Blackwing clan was now a super expert of the 7th level galactic system. He believed that she wouldn't refuse to form a team with him. There was another person who he wasn't so sure about, but he could give it a try. This person was from the Sky River Empire, the emperor of the Sky River Empire, Longju Tian. Longju Tian is a 9th level galactic system. His ranking in the arena is very high, and he's not far from a mysterious general. If he can find him, he definitely won't be a weakling. Lin Jun felt that he should have a chance to communicate with Longju Tian. Both of them came from the same elementary civilization, so they were fated to be together. However, he must pass the current hurdle. Mysterious generals have released the news of him being hunted down in the dimensional universe. Now, many people are looking for him everywhere. It won't be easy to leave Mount Meru smoothly. In other words, it wasn't easy before. As for now, Lin Jun was no longer afraid. Although Mount Meru wasn't too big, he could still find a hidden place to hide for a while. Lin Jun, on the other hand, only needed a little more time. He found a kernel. It wasn't too deep, but if someone came in from the outside, they would have to walk for a while. In the depths of the call, Lin Jun sat down cross-legged. As soon as he raised his hand, the Star Fantasy Stone appeared in his palm, exuding a soft blue light. Star Fantasy Stone, I finally got it. As long as I absorb it, my body and avatar can transfer star power to each other. Just in case, I even brought my avatar with me. Come at me. When you find me, I'll introduce you to a brand new Lin Jun. Chapter 557. The Star Fantasy Stone in his hand was half real and half illusory. With a thought, Lin Jun's all-devouring black hole appeared on top of his head and easily absorbed the Star Fantasy Stone into his body. In the next moment, the Star Fantasy Stone appeared in Lin Jun's dantian. His main body was sitting cross-legged, while his doppelganger was also sitting cross-legged in the dark star space. There was a mysterious connection between the two. In between Lin Jun's dantian and the dark star space, there was an intersecting space. This was the area where the twin netherworld stones were connected. If the dark star space was real, then the dantian was illusory. The intersecting space intertwined with each other and became the point where Lin Jun's two great star powers were connected. However, they did not interfere with each other. The Star Fantasy Stone entered Lin Jun's body and finally stopped at the point where his dantian and the dark star space were connected. The Star Fantasy Stone seemed to have found its home here. The real half was at the dark star space, while the illusory half was at the dantian. It was embedded at this point. Half was light, half was dark. Maybe it was because of the intersecting space, or maybe it was because his doppelganger was in the dark star space. But this point became the key to connecting the star powers. Lin Jun's doppelganger had 6,000 star powers. With a thought, only 1% of the star power was left. The rest of the star power surged toward the Star Fantasy Stone. Star power transfer. A faint blue light flickered as 6,000 star powers were poured into the Star Fantasy Stone. The light on the Star Fantasy Stone exploded. The huge amount of star power passed through the illusory side and into the real side. In an instant, the star power in Lin Jun's dantian skyrocketed. From 7,500 star power, it soared all the way to 13,500 star power. The huge amount of star power surged in his dantian. Lin Jun felt that his dantian could not contain such a huge amount of star power. This is really powerful. I've never felt so strong before. Although by doing this, his doppelganger had almost completely lost its fighting strength and could no longer fight. Lin Jun's main body had become a great god-level expert in one fell swoop. Now that Lin Jun returned to the arena, he would not be threatened by anyone. With such a powerful strength, Lin Jun could not wait to find someone to fight. This way, this way. There are people passing by here, and there are people in that valley. A nebula-grade martialist led 6 or 7 black hole stage martialists into the kernel. Look, they're somewhat at the end. A black hole stage martial artist had sharp eyes and saw Lin Jun sitting at the end. It really is Lin Jun. We will immediately report to Lord Xian General. The Nebula Stage Warrior immediately sent a message to the Xian General in the Dimensional Universe, announcing Lin Jun's location. As Lin Jun was sitting there without moving, he even took a photo as evidence. After Xian General received the news, he laughed heartily. Well done. I'll head over immediately. Each of you will receive 1,000,000 cosmos crystals, and I'll transfer it to you now. Thank you, Lord Xian General. These few martial artists were bursting with joy. With 1,000,000 cosmos crystals in their hands, they could be considered rich. After receiving the money, they were not in a hurry to leave. A black hole stage martial artist hesitated and then said to a nebula-grade martialist, "Brother who, you said that Lin Jun is only at the middle black hole stage. Is he really that strong? You said that he is more talented than us, and we believe that. But if you say that he is stronger than you, brother who, I definitely don't believe it. Yes, no matter how strong he is only at the black hole stage. Brother who is a super expert at the nebula grade. To be honest, I have never seen a black hole stage martial artist compete with a nebula grade martialist. This question is really hard to say. Actually, I also don't believe that a middle black hole stage martial artist can compete with me. But Fire Chilan sighed, said that he is very powerful. Perhaps he really is outstanding. Brother who was still cautious and did not act rashly. Brother who, if we take action and kill or capture this Lin Jun, do you think the Xian General will give us more rewards? I think so too. Even if Lin Jun is a genius and we are no match for him, can't we run away? That's too ridiculous. No matter how strong a black hole stage martial artist is, there is a limit. Brother whose eyes flickered a few times. Finally, he was moved. Then let's give it a try. But be careful. Don't be greedy. Don't worry, brother who. Let's use the Wolfpack tactic and surround him. A nebula-grade martialist with 7 black hole stage martialists slowly approached Lin Jun. Along the way, they were careful and did not dare to move rashly. However, when they saw that Lin Jun was just sitting there without moving, their tactics were somewhat useless. Brother who waved his hand. 8 people approached from 8 directions. East, south, north, south, east, south, north, south, west, and north. There were no blind spots because it was a ban on flying. They moved forward step by step, probing little by little. Finally, the 8 of them were only 10 meters away from Lin Jun. Lin Jun still did not move. What? Are we being a little too paranoid? Is a black hole stage martial artist really worth it? Let me record this and send it to Master Xianjiang, brother who activated the recording system of the dimensional universe and sent the image to Xianjiang. Master Xianjiang, this Lin Jun is just SOSO. The 8 of us are already 10 meters away from him, but he still has no reaction. At this distance, if we attack at the same time, we will definitely kill him. Just tell us if you want us to attack. At this time, Xianjiang had already brought people close to the entrance of the valley. When he saw the image, he was stunned. Then, he scolded angrily. Who allowed you to come close? Hurry up and get lost. Although Lin Jun is a bastard, you are not qualified to touch him. Do you know that you are courting death? Are you exaggerating? I guarantee with my honor that he is definitely not as powerful as the rumors say. If you don't believe me, look. Before brother who finished speaking, Lin Jun suddenly opened his eyes in the image. When martial artists finish cultivating, there would be a process of releasing their astral power. This kind of release did not have much lethality, but if there was a great disparity in strength, it was still possible to knock someone out. A halo of astral power emanated from Lin Jun's body. The 8 martial artists surrounding him felt a strong surge of energy surging towards them. Their 5 viscera and 6 bowels suffered a shocking blow. Pu. The 8 of them made a gesture of vomiting blood at the same time. Their internal organs were shattered at the same time. This is impossible. His astral power. How high is it? How high is it? After Brother Who said his last sentence, his body fell to the ground, and he died on the spot. He was a level 1 nebula with an astral power of 350. He thought that he was strong enough. Even if he was not a match for Lin Jun, he could still retreat calmly. He did not expect the gap between him and Lin Jun to be so big. This astral power was definitely over 10,000. He wanted to inform Xianjiang to be careful, but he did not have the strength to do so. Lin Jun released his astral power and killed these 8 people. However, he did not even bother to collect their interspatial rings. It was like a billionaire. He would never take a few dollars from a few dead people. There was no need for that at all. His gaze fell on the entrance of the colonel. A group of people surged in. The leader was Xianjiang. There were more than 100 people. Lin Jun still had some impression of many of them. They were the veteran level 9 nebula who had challenged him in a row. Xianjiang led his men to Lin Jun. He lowered his head and looked at the dead bodies on the ground. Then the corners of his mouth curled up. Lin Jun, you stray dog, really knows how to show off. Why? Do you feel a sense of accomplishment after dealing with a few small fries in the black hole stage? Xinjiang, don't forget that I'm also in the black hole stage, and the middle stage at that. You brought a large group of people and couldn't wait to catch me. Do you feel a sense of accomplishment too? Xinjiang choked on Lin Jun's words. After interacting with Lin Jun for so long, Xinjiang had forgotten that Lin Jun was in the black hole stage. He had always treated Lin Jun as an opponent on the same level. Lin Jun, I will not argue with you. It is completely meaningless. No matter what you do today, you will not be able to fly out of my hands. Is that so? I look forward to it. Lin Jun, you know that you have obtained the 3rd level of the Taiyuan sword technique. Hand it over obediently, and you may have a chance to live. Lin Jun sneered. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? Xinjiang, your IQ is very worrying. You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Lin Jun, it has already come to this. Are you still not giving up? Set up the array. Xinjiang shouted. The more than 100 galactic grade 9 warriors he had brought with him quickly set up a large array. The array was not a profound one, but it was natural and underground. It blocked all of Lin Jun's exits from all directions. Xinjiang took out a sword from his interspatial ring. Lin Jun, you have never seen this before, right? This is the World Impaler Sword. I know that you're proficient in the law of space and can use space to escape. This is why you are so confident in challenging me. But you will never imagine that this sword can pierce through space. Even if you hide in an alternate space, you will not be able to escape. Ha ha ha. Lin Jun glanced at the warriors around him who were ready for battle and then looked at Xinjiang. You have really put in a lot of effort to catch me. Of course, it is better to be safe than sorry. You are worth 30 billion cosmos crystals, and I have the Taiyuan sword technique. I have never fought an unprepared war. Then have you ever worried that your people will not be able to defeat me? What did you say? Xinjiang seemed to have heard a big joke and could not believe his ears. Pu. Lin Jun suddenly attacked as fast as lightning. The Phantom God attack was thrown out casually, and the power of his spear technique swept across the entire area. The spear flashed, and the throats of 5 galactic grade 9 warriors were pierced. They died on the spot. Xinjiang had not brought any Tom, Dick, or Harry with him this time. Every warrior was an elite who had cultivated for at least a few hundred years. Individually, they could be the emperor of a beginner's civilization universe country. He was killed by Lin Jun as if he was slaughtering a chicken. Chapter 558. Seeing Lin Jun's attack, Xin General felt a layer of cold sweat on his back, because he actually didn't see Lin Jun's attack clearly. Xin General was a level 9 galactic prodigy who had cultivated for thousands of years. He was extremely talented. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to dominate a place like the arena. How talented must one be to be able to reach the great god level in a small war zone with hundreds of millions of warriors? But when Lin Jun attacked just now, he thought he saw war gods like Hoa and Fifth Ghost Attack, because Xian General couldn't see Fifth Ghost Attack clearly. Everything about a warrior was directly related to their star power. For this to happen, it meant that Lin Jun's star power had surpassed Xian General's. But Xian Jiang knew that his star power was over 10,000, reaching 10,300. How could Lin Jun surpass this level of star power? But the truth was right in front of him. He had no choice but to admit it. Besides, he had set up such a big formation that he couldn't back down now. He had no choice but to fight Lin Jun to the death. Everyone, be careful. Now that things have come to this, we have no way out. No matter how evil Lin Jun is, we will definitely be able to defeat him. Everyone, let's go. Whoosh! Xian General took the lead and rushed forward. All the warriors around followed suit. Lin Jun sneered. His star power was now 13,500. The person closest to him was only Xian General, who was still more than 3,000 behind him. The rest of the people had 6,000 to 7,000 star power, at most 8,000 star power. They were almost half of Lin Jun's star power. Lin Jun had never been afraid of anyone with the same star power. Besides, these people's star power was less than half of his. It was too easy to deal with them. Before the other party charged, Lin Jun had already prepared his field power. When these warriors rushed forward, Lin Jun's Milky Way star explosion appeared. In an instant, hundreds of planets appeared in the starry sky. This kind of large-scale attack with his body as the center was very useful at this time. Following countless loud booms, the surrounding mountains shook, and a tragedy was born. In the blink of an eye, more than 50 of the 100 martial artists had been eliminated. In the blink of an eye, half of them were gone. Lin Jun's feet slid forward. He faced the area in front of him where the remaining martial artists were the most concentrated. With a wave of his hand, he sent out a spatial chop. Roar! The shrill whistling of the space chop caused everyone's hairs to stand on end. More than a dozen martial artists were unable to dodge in time and were struck by the space chop. They were instantly torn to shreds. Lin Jun, don't be so arrogant. The next moment, Xian Jiang appeared in front of Lin Jun. The heaven-grade world impaler sword in his hand tore through space and stabbed towards Lin Jun. Open. At some point, Lin Jun's yin-yang spear had appeared in his hand. He swung it fiercely, drawing an arc in the air. Even though he attacked later, it arrived first. It hit Xian General's world impaler. Wong. The world impaler let out a sorrowful cry. In a situation where they were both heaven-grade weapons, a weapon like a longsword was at a disadvantage when it came into contact with Lin Jun's spear. Xian General felt the web between his thumb and forefinger go numb. He quickly retreated. Where do you think you're going? Lin Jun whistled. Like a ghost, he followed Xian General. His spear shook, and the spear light dazzled everyone's eyes. He didn't miss Xian General's vital points. Xian General suddenly felt that his eyes weren't enough. He shouted in horror, "Stop him!" Two martial artists attacked from his side. Lin Jun's spiritual evil spirit all directly killed one of them. At the same time, his spear shook. Collapse. Crack. All the bones in this martial artist's body were shattered by Lin Jun's attack. He died on the spot. An evil wind blew behind his head. Space was twisting. It was an ambush by the divine armament race. A cold light flashed in Lin Jun's eyes. This person was the one who tried to kill him in the dimensional arena. But today, his astral power had skyrocketed, and his senses were abnormally sharp. He wouldn't be shot in the head. The baleful light suddenly turned into a shield behind his back. Then, a powerful force attacked him. There was a rumbling explosion. Lin Jun's body staggered forward a little. Then, like a spring, he suddenly bounced back. He drew an arc in the air and dodged the divine armament race martial artist's second ambush. The yin-yang spear in his hand shook. Piercing shot. Die for me. The spear left his hand. A bolt of lightning flashed. This martial artist and his spear were blasted into smithereens. The gravity pulled back, and the spear that flew out was pulled back. Lowering his body, he turned around and threw the spear out again. Piercing shot again. 3 martial artists were pierced through like candied haws on a stick. The gravity pulled them back again. His body shot forward like a cannonball. 7 martial artists came forward to stop him. Time stopped. The 7-star saber drew a deadly arc in the air. Lin Jun's body rushed over, and the 7 martial artists were unable to stop him at all. All they left behind were 7 corpses that had died in different ways. Crazy, crazy. This Lin Jun is crazy. Charge! Stop him! The Xian general shouted hysterically. His body followed Lin Jun's footsteps. The World Impaler launched the fiercest attack, using all his strength. Xian general, you can't do it anymore. Clang, 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 clang. Lin Jun's spear repeatedly stabbed at the Xian general. The Xian general was flustered. Clang, clang, clang. Fly, clang, clang. Time deceleration. The Xian general thought he could escape in this situation. But Lin Jun followed him like lightning and used time deceleration. Xian Jiang felt himself flying backwards slower and slower. As for Lin Jun, he had transformed into a stream of light and arrived beside him. His spear stabbed down at his chest. World Impaler. Crack. Clang. Lin Jun broke the Xian general's arm. The World Impaler sword fell to the ground. Lin Jun put it in his interspatial ring. Clang. 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 The remaining 30-odd warriors shouted as they charged forward. Lin Jun did not immediately kill the Xian generals. Instead, he suddenly turned around and charged into the group of warriors like a tiger in a flock of sheep. A pack of wolves could fight a tiger, but a flock of sheep couldn't fight a tiger. What was crushing with strength? This was what it meant to crush with strength. Clang, 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 clang. We can't fight anymore, clang, clang. It's not that we didn't try our best, but our opponent is too strong. Retreat. I'm leaving the underworld and never coming out again. If Lin Jun wanted to chase them down, most of these martial artists would not be able to escape. But that was meaningless. People who had already lost their will to fight were not worth mentioning at all. Letting out a long breath, Lin Jun felt refreshed. The devastation on the ground was particularly pleasing to the eye. He slowly took off the martialist spatial rings one by one. Regardless of how many things there were inside, the wealth of a nebula 9 martialist was still worth collecting. During this process, Xian Jiang could not get up at all. He could only look at Lin Jun in fear. After collecting all the items, Lin Jun held the spear dripping with blood and walked towards Xian General step by step. When he arrived in front of Xian General, Lin Jun lowered his head and looked straight into Xian General's eyes. Do you have anything else to say? Those eyes were filled with life and death. They were as profound as the starry sky of the universe. Looking at them from such a close distance, it was as if there were 2 black holes inside that wanted to devour one's soul. Xian General could not help but tremble all over. His willpower, which he was so proud of, had actually been shaken by Lin Jun's gaze. His will to live had gained the upper hand. Let me go. After I let you go, will you turn around and stab me? No, I wouldn't dare. I definitely wouldn't dare. Good. In that case, remember this. From today onwards, the great god of District 68399 will be replaced. It will no longer be you, Xian General. It will be me, Lin Jun. Yes. Then will you let me go? Lin Jun's years of experience have taught me that there are 2 types of people who are most reliable. One is a dead person, and the other is one's own people. Xian General, which type of person are you? Without waiting for Xian General to answer, Lin Jun grabbed Xian General's spiritual defense. His emerald eyes shone brightly, piercing straight to the heart. Xian General, open your mind. Listen to my orders. Puffed. Xian General had originally intended to stall for time. However, under the impact of Lin Jun's powerful spiritual power, his mind trembled and his spiritual resistance completely collapsed. Chapter 559. Taking advantage of the fact that Xian General was heavily injured, Lin Jun didn't hold back and directly locked his soul. Xian General's mind was in a trance, and Lin Jun succeeded in one hit. Even with Lin Jun's initial Jade Ray spiritual power, it was still a bit difficult for him to deal with a level 9 super powerhouse in the Solok Galaxy. But it was a success. Since it was a success, Xian General no longer had a chance to turn things around. Xian General greets Master. Xian General immediately became the most loyal subordinate in the world after Lin Jun successfully locked his soul. How much money do you have in your bank card? Lin Jun's first sentence was to ask about money. After killing so many people, he didn't get anything, which made him a bit depressed. Master, most of my money is to be handed over to Fifth Ghost and Yinghua. They rule the 68th district, and a lot of the income goes to them. As for me, I only have about 60 billion. Okay, that's quite a lot. Lin Jun was overjoyed. 60 billion. This was the biggest gain he had ever made since robbing others. Leave 100 million for yourself and transfer the rest to me. Xian General quickly transferred the 60 billion cosmos crystals to Lin Jun's card without any complaints. Lin Jun originally had more than 100 billion, and with this, he finally broke through the 200 billion mark. He was a big step closer to his goal of 500 billion. Master, you'd better leave as soon as possible. Something happened on my side, and Fifth Ghost will definitely make a move on you. He's much stronger than me. Master, although your combat power is very strong, you may not necessarily win against Fifth Ghost. Oh, what's his star power? Lin Jun asked. There are 7 fierce stars in the arena, and each of them has a star power of more than 15,000. That's why I told you to be careful. Lin Jun nodded. His current strength was enough to crush most of the galactic stage, but there were always some super geniuses in the world. These 7 fierce stars obviously had some fortuitous encounters. According to Xian General, Lin Jun's chances of winning against Fifth Ghost weren't high. It was better to go back to Qilin's sacred planet first. Lin Jun's dark star could continue to level up after obtaining a lot of heart vegetation. Looking at the heavily injured Xian General, Lin Jun wasn't worried. He definitely had a way to recover. How about this? Go back to where you came from. If anyone asks you, just say that you escaped from under my watch. Don't reveal anything. Do you understand? Yes, Master. Xian General will go back now. I guarantee that no one will notice. Don't forget to log into the arena. I still need you. Xian General agreed and left immediately, took a spaceship left. Lin Jun did not continue to linger on Mount Meru. There was nothing else on this mountain that was worth his attention. He immediately left through the mountain entrance without encountering the 5 ghosts. After leaving the mountain, Lin Jun piloted the spaceship into the sky and quickly entered the parallel universe, heading straight for the Qilin sacred planet. Xian's Xian. Xian General Xian. To A Xian, S Xian General, S trash. If he couldn't even do such a simple thing, how could he call himself a god of the arena? A bunch of good-for-nothings. Like a raging lion, he paced back and forth in the room, dazzling Tianzi, who was beside him. Yihua, I advise you to calm down. Lin Jun returned to the Qilin sacred planet and did not disappear. He will appear sooner or later. You don't have to be so anxious. How can I not be anxious? I can see that this brat is free and unfettered outside, yet I can't do anything to him. Even the profound generals can't do anything to him. Who else can I find? As Yihua spoke, he glanced at Tianzi. That's right. Isn't your old man an executive of the arena, a domain monarch-level expert? Why don't you let your old man kill Lin Jun? Tianzi shook his head helplessly. I did, but my father refused. He said that Lin Jun didn't do anything to harm me, so there was no need to do anything. Oomph. That's because Lin Jun is cunning. He knows that he can't touch you easily now, so he's holding back. Once he's strong enough, let's see if he'll let you go. Tianzi nodded. I think you're right, so I came to discuss it with you. But in my opinion, this matter is not difficult. When Lin Jun returns to the arena, he will definitely infringe on the interests of the 7 great malefic stars. At that time, we just need to add fuel to the fire, and they will take the initiative to find trouble with Lin Jun. Yihua also gradually calmed down. What you said makes sense. Lin Jun will definitely not stay put when he returns. I reckon that he may appear in the arena during this period of time. As long as he offends the 7 great malefic stars, he won't be far from death. Those 7 people joined forces and killed the domain monarch. This time, Yihua did not guess wrong. After Lin Jun returned to the Qilin sacred planet, Sky Fire Store reopened for business, while his original body returned to the arena. The first person to notice Lin Jun's return to the arena was his former teammate, Yin Qiye. Lin Jun was quite happy to see Yin Qiye. He said, "Brother Yin, I'm back in the arena again. I'm preparing to form a team. Come and join me." But he did not expect Yin Qiye to hesitate. "Lin Jun, our team is doing quite well now. We can maintain a 65% win rate." I think Lin Jun was stunned for a moment, then smiled. "It's okay. Then you do what you need to do. I'll find someone else." Yin Qiye nodded and turned to leave. Lin Jun sighed slightly. He originally thought that Yin Qiye would immediately agree, but now it seemed that he had underestimated him. He believed that if he said that the Xian general's threat was no longer there, Yin Qiye might come over. But then it would lose its meaning. When he said that he wanted to form a team, Nicole knew that he had offended the Xian general, but she agreed without hesitation. This was the difference between them. Looking at today's battle list, there was another battle with 1,000,000 people. Lin Jun spent 10,000 universe crystals to create a team called Phoenix Myth. He was the captain. Then, he immediately began to add members. The first invitation was sent to Nicole. Nicole accepted it quickly and promised that she would arrive before the battle began. The second invitation was sent to Zi Qianxia by Lin Jun. The message was immediately replied. Zi Qianxia seemed to be very surprised that Lin Jun would invite her to be his teammate. "You're really Lin Jun?" Zi Qianxia, who had not appeared in a long time, appeared on the virtual screen. The once down-and-out black-winged princess was now radiant and beautiful. "Princess, what's wrong? You don't recognize your old friend anymore?" Lin Jun asked with a smile. "It's really you. Why did you suddenly invite me to be your teammate?" "Oh, I know. Wait a moment. I'll talk to my original teammates, and then I'll go over immediately." Lin Jun's heart warmed. It was obvious that Zi Qianxiao thought that Lin Jun had offended the Xian general and could not find anyone to be his teammate. Under such circumstances, she could support him without reservation. This friendship was very precious. In less than a minute, Zi Qianxia joined the team. Using the team teleportation, Zi Qianxia came to Lin Jun's side. "Great love saint, when you left the arena, I thought that you might not appear again. I felt quite regretful. I didn't expect you to be living so comfortably." Zi Qianxia came to Lin Jun's side like an old friend. She even patted his shoulder. However, Lin Jun was tall, and it was difficult for her petite body to do this. "How did I become the great love saint? Don't just give me a random name." "Oomph. You still say you're not the great love saint. Others don't know, but I've been paying attention to you. What's going on between you and our Fire Qilin Empire's #1 beauty, Feng Qingwan? Don't tell me you're just friends." Lin Jun rubbed his nose awkwardly. "You really have nothing better to do." "Che, I'm not that free. It's just because you're my savior. You saved me from the slave traders, treated me well, and even gave me freedom. I just want to repay you." At first, I even thought that if you missed Feng Qingwan too much, I could reluctantly accept you and give you a warm hug. Now it seems that it's not necessary. You're completely heartless. Lin Jun did not say anything for a long time. He had not seen Zi Qianxia for many years, and she had become much more cheerful. She must have gotten her revenge. Her words seemed to be sarcastic, but she was actually comforting Lin Jun. After all, from her perspective, Feng Qingwan had been dead for a long time. Of course, Lin Jun would not tell her the secret of the Phoenix's nirvana. However, he still appreciated Zi Qianxia's kindness. "Lin Jun, I think we only have 3 people in the team. We still need 2 more. There is still 1 more person. I'll try the next one." Lin Jun immediately began to contact the next backup teammate, which was the Dragon Ju Tian. The Dragon Ju Tian is the emperor of an elementary civilization. Ordinary people can't join their team, but Lin Jun is now the Duke of the Fire Kirin Empire, so naturally he can join their team. "You are Duke Lin Jun?" The Dragon Ju Tian received an invitation from Lin Jun, looking a little surprised. Oh, not only Duke Lin Jun, but also Count Lin Jun of the Sky River Empire. Hello, Your Majesty. Oh, no, no, no. The Duke is a genius of our Sky River Empire. He is the pride of our empire. I also feel proud of him. What's wrong? The Duke's team is short of people. Okay, I'll go over now. The Dragon Ju Tian also didn't say anything and immediately joined Lin Jun's team. Using the team teleport, the Dragon Ju Tian came to Lin Jun's side. Zi Qianxia was stunned when he saw the Emperor's dragon robe. Lin Jun, you are really capable. Your teammates are either emperors or princesses. I think the other teammate is called Nicole. Is she also a great beauty? If that's the case, I've decided to quit. I don't want to be in the same team with a playboy like you, lest I get infected by you. The Dragon Ju Tian looked at the great beauty Zi Qianxia, but didn't say anything. In his opinion, this is Lin Jun's private matter. Since he promised to be Lin Jun's teammate, he shouldn't care about this. Lin Jun laughed. She is indeed a great beauty. I'll let him teleport over. In the next moment, Nicole teleported to the three people. Chapter 560. But when she saw the bearded dwarf, who was 3 meters tall and wearing heavy armor, looking like a water tank, she immediately stopped tidying her hair. Nicole. It was really a bit of an injustice for a dwarf to have this name. The corner of Zi Qianxia's mouth twitched a few times. He faced Lin Jun again and said, Hey, where's the last teammate? If you don't have anyone, how about I find someone to fill in the numbers? Lin Jun nodded. If he wanted to find someone, he could find someone. At least Xianjiang would come whenever he wanted. However, Lin Jun couldn't do that. Xianjiang's existence was still very useful. After a while, Zi Qianxia found someone. It was the guard who had followed him before, 13. 13 was very happy to see Lin Jun. He happily greeted Lin Jun. Okay, our team is finally full. Everyone get ready. The team battle will begin in half an hour. No one did anything else. They just rested in place and waited for the team battle to begin. The news that Xianjiang was defeated by Lin Jun at Mount Sumeru didn't spread. When those who escaped found Fifth Ghost, they were sentenced to death by Fifth Ghost for desertion. At that time, Fifth Ghost thought that Xianjiang was dead for sure. However, he didn't expect Xianjiang to escape in the end. Fifth Ghost was surprised. Therefore, on the surface, the 68399 battle zone was still calm and peaceful. There were no changes. On the other hand, Lin Jun formed a new team. Many people talked about it. They felt that Lin Jun didn't know what was good for him. He actually dared to come and seek death. They wanted to see how Xianjiang would torture him this time. Before the battle began, Yin Chia's group had passed by Lin Jun's group. Yin Chia didn't say anything. Instead, it was Lin Jun's former captain, Haig, who stopped. He looked at Lin Jun and said in a low voice, Lin Jun, you shouldn't have come back. Oh, why? Lin Jun asked. Because it's meaningless. The 68399 area won't change. As your former teammates, we feel embarrassed because of this. You even tried to poach people from my team. It's easy for others to misunderstand. Lin Jun, to avoid misunderstandings, please stay away from us in the future. Lin Jun was a little embarrassed. Strictly speaking, it was a taboo for him to poach Yin Chi. However, Haig's attitude irritated him even more. What? Did he think that Lin Jun was useless? As for Yin Chi, Lin Jun was a bit annoyed as well. Why did he sell me out after rejecting my offer? Humans were fickle and fickle of the world. Without waiting for Lin Jun to reply, Zi Qianxia, who was beside him, snorted coldly, Snob. Don't think that you won't be able to rotate after leaving your planet. You better pray that you don't meet us in the team battle. Otherwise, I won't show any mercy. Haig glanced at Zi Qianxia and curled his lips. You and I are both level 7 galactic beings. Do you think I'm afraid of you? I'm here to tell you guys that I won't hold back in the team battle. Then, they left with their heads held high. Poirot and Yu Xian glared at Lin Jun. Yin Xia didn't look at Lin Jun anymore. Lin Jun didn't say anything. His eyes gradually turned cold. After a while, the team battle began. This time, Lin Jun was on the red team. However, the red team wasn't favored because the Xian general was on the black team. Basically, the team that won the team battle had a god. A team without a god rarely had a chance to make a comeback. Plus, there was no need to pay attention to tactics. Once the battle started, they would charge with all their strength. The scenery in front of them changed. Lin Jun's team entered the team battle. Just like last time, there was a sea of people in red everywhere. 10 miles away, there was a team in black. It was also a crowd that stretched as far as the eye could see. Last time, Lin Jun's team was in the middle. This time, they were in the front row. Don't use too much strength. Remember to protect yourselves. Only those who survive to the end will gain the most. Do you understand? Lin Jun shouted. The noise around them made it hard for them to hear his words. They could only nod instinctively. Then, they immediately charged forward with the rest of the team. Kill. After Lin Jun finished speaking, he took the lead and charged to the front. This position was the easiest to attack others. However, it was also the easiest to be attacked. Without absolute strength, this position was suicide. Armor transformation. Star power transfer. Lin Jun immediately activated armor transformation and star power transfer. His entire body was immediately covered by black armor. At the same time, all the power of his clone was transferred over, causing his strength to multiply. Attacks came crashing down from all directions. Lin Jun's body began to twist strangely in the air. After his star power reached 13,500, Lin Jun's senses improved by a lot. He also had a better sense of danger. He could sense the more fatal attacks in advance, such as the sniper attacks from the divine armament race. His twisting body dodged many fatal light rays. When he couldn't dodge, he turned the light demon into a shield and took it head-on. With armor transformation and a shield, even the sniper attacks from the divine armament race couldn't do anything to Lin Jun. Boom! Boom! A series of explosions exploded around Lin Jun. He was practically braving the rain of bullets as he advanced. Not far away, a black shadow was also leading the charge. It was the black team's mystic general. At the very beginning, even if the experts of the great god level encountered each other, they would avoid each other because it was irrational to fight to the death at the beginning. They would wait until everyone had more or less won before the final battle. 10 miles passed in the blink of an eye. Lin Jun finally approached the black team's camp. Looking at the dense and thick formation in front of him, Lin Jun finally released the space slash that he had been preparing for a long time. Slash! A black cloud rose from the ground. The space cracks almost connected into a line and rushed out with an ear-piercing whistle. Those who attacked on the ground were basically the weaker ones. Some experts chose to fly into the air, which was less likely to be attacked. However, the real experts all liked to attack on the ground because they could maximize their benefits. With Lin Jun's current star power, the space slash release could be described as unstoppable. The warriors in the first row only saw a blur in front of their eyes. Their bodies were immediately cut in half. However, the power of the space slash did not disappear so easily. It enlarged and pushed forward in a crescent shape. The second row, the third row, the fourth row, the densely packed warriors fell down like wheat being cut. By the time the power of Lin Jun's space slash dissipated, at least tens of thousands of people had fallen in front of him. Lin Jun could only hear within the dimensional universe system. The notifications of 5 million being transferred to his account kept ringing nonstop. This feeling was really awesome. A space slash cleared a large area, and a vacuum area immediately appeared in the black team's camp. Lin Jun did not stop at all. He sped up and swept through the vacuum area in an instant. The slightly smaller space slash in his hand was aimed at the places with the most people and densely packed areas. In the beginning, he had to pursue efficiency. He would kill as many as he could, It was not enough to say that a tiger entering a flock of sheep. This was like a tiger entering a group of ants. He did not need to bite. He just needed to step on them and they would die. Those early nebula stage and even black hole stage trash were unlucky to meet Lin Jun. The difference in star power was tens or even hundreds of times. They had no resistance at all. Lin Jun shone brightly on the battlefield. The killing in other places was just as intense. The experts used all the means at their disposal. The weak tried their best to stay alive. As long as they could find an opportunity to kill a few people, they would have profited. The black wave and the red wave collided fiercely, bursting into a rain of blood. If someone was killed here, the corpse would be cleared away within a second. It would definitely not have any impact on the subsequent battles. Some of the smarter warriors endured the endless mental attacks of the other party and desperately used teleportation. As long as they successfully teleported, they would enter the crowd and self-destruct. As long as they succeeded in self-destructing, this trip would not be in vain. Of course, it was not easy to find people who were rushing to die. Those who could cultivate to the nebula stage were basically telekinesis masters. When they activated, they would first use their mental attacks. Regardless of whether they hit people or not, the endless mental attacks would combine to form a mental storm. People who did not have super strong mental strength would rarely be able to escape the net and rush over. However, after the first wave of direct impact, it was not so easy to defend against. One by one, human bombs exploded in the crowd. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere. The whole place was filled with flickering figures. Even around Lin Jun, countless people flew past and self-destructed. Because Lin Jun had killed too many people, as long as they could kill Lin Jun, they would be able to obtain his wealth. Now it seemed that it would be at least hundreds of millions or even billions. Lin Jun held the baleful light in one hand and blocked the warriors who self-destructed at close range. Even if some of the warriors self-destructed, with their hundreds or thousands of astral powers, it was impossible for them to cause much damage to Lin Jun, who was in armor form. On the contrary, Lin Jun constantly counterattacked with his spiritual evil spirit all, sniping and killing the warriors midway. The surrounding explosions connected. These people self-destructed, but they were still counted as Lin Jun's kills because their target was Lin Jun. Ding! Your team's battlefield account has received 5 million. Your current balance is 62.25 billion. Ding! Your team's battlefield account has received 5 million. Your current balance is 63.30 billion. Ding! Your team's battlefield account has received 5 million. Your current balance is 64.65 billion. A series of notifications rang in Lin Jun's ears like the sound of nature. In the face of this kind of collective self-destruction, he did not have many ways to counterattack. His mental power shield, armor form, and baleful light formed layers of defense. He only needed to snipe and kill the stronger warriors midway. Chapter 561. Halfway through the war, there were only 700,000 to 800,000 people left on the battlefield of 2 million people. At this time, large-scale fighting was basically impossible to see. Almost all of the remaining people had killed before, and each of them had a balance of more than 10 million in their personal account. With more money, they became more cautious. At this time, the more they gained from killing, the more they would lose. Everywhere, one could see pairs or small groups fighting. The strong were chasing and killing, while the weak were busy dodging. In the place where Lin Jun was attacked, almost no one took the initiative to rush forward and self-destruct, because they found that this should be a god-level warrior. A god-level warrior isn't someone they can shake. The warriors who recognized the situation began to retreat, looking for opponents who could match them. In this way, Lin Jun's killing speed slowed down a lot. However, Lin Jun wasn't in a hurry. He began to slowly wander around the battlefield. When he saw a dark-side warrior killing a lot of people, he would quietly go up and kill the opponent with a single blow. Although the killing speed decreased a lot, the amount of money gained was more and more. Often, when Lin Jun killed a person, he could get tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of cosmos crystals. Lin Jun's teammates, because of Lin Jun's charge in the front, they basically didn't encounter any head-on attacks. With several people working together, their battle record wasn't bad. Especially the Dragon Ju Tian, the Emperor of the Sky River Empire, was also very happy at this time. His strength was originally very strong. 9,000 star power was enough to support him in the battlefield, and he didn't need to encounter any head-on attacks. One by one, the warriors fell under his feet, and his wealth was accumulating rapidly. Zi Qianxia's strength was also not bad. With his guard Zi Shan, he killed more than a dozen opponents. Even the dwarf Nicole, whose strength wasn't outstanding, had killed 5 or 6 people on the battlefield. The small team followed Lin Jun from a distance. Some of the fish that escaped the net that Lin Jun didn't want to touch were easily taken down by them. Gradually, the number of people on the battlefield decreased, less than 300,000. A small team appeared in front of him. They were all dressed in black, and their cooperation was quite tacit. Seeing this team, Lin Jun stopped because the team that appeared in front of him was actually Haig's group. Haig took in Chia and the others to form a small formation. They moved forward steadily. They didn't take risks, but they didn't fall behind. Their kill count increased steadily. Captain, look at those people in front. Are they Lin Jun and the others? Poirot of the Divine Armament race was the first to speak. The current strength of Haig's team had improved a lot. Without Lin Jun, who was in the black hole stage, they had gained a level 7 nebula. His strength could even be compared to Haig's team. Although they couldn't be compared to the top teams of level 9 experts, they could still survive. Haig and the others didn't know Lin Jun's real competence. Even Yin Chia wasn't sure about Lin Jun's real competence. Because in the last team battle, Lin Jun was killed just like them. They thought that Lin Jun's competence was just SOSO. Thus, when he saw Lin Jun's troop, Haig stopped. Brother Chia, as expected, your lord is really our enemy. Tell me, should I eat this fat meat that's already in my mouth? Yin Chia's face changed a few times. Then, he said seriously, Captain, what are you talking about? In a team battle, we should eliminate the opponent at all costs. Do you think I should let Lin Jun off just because he is my lord? But isn't your hometown on the same planet as his? Aren't you afraid of offending him? Poirot asked. Although I'm from Earth, I've been cultivating for almost 1,000 years. My family members are all dead. I don't have any relatives on Earth. I haven't returned to my hometown for many years. Good. Brother Yin Chia, you're really clear about your likes and dislikes. If so, I won't be polite. Haig glanced at Lin Jun's team and then said to the level 7 Nebula warrior next to him, Brother Tai Jiang, do you see that warrior in the dragon robe? He should be the emperor of a universe country with a beginner civilization. He's a level 9 Nebula. Your mission this time is to hold him back. As long as you can hold him back for 3 minutes. No, in 1 minute, we'll take care of Lin Jun and the others. Then, we'll help you deal with the emperor. After we're done, we'll give you an extra 10 million each. The martialist named Iron River patted his chest. Don't worry. Although I can't guarantee that I'll defeat that Nebula level 9, I'll definitely be able to hold him back. You know that I've challenged someone of a higher level before, and more than once. Good. Let's go. With Haig's order, the team immediately approached Lin Jun's team. At this time, Zi Qianxia came behind Lin Jun and said with a smile, Captain Lin, it seems like your fellow countryman is going to attack you. How are you feeling now? Looking at the mischievous black-winged princess, Lin Jun smiled. I feel like someone poured cold water on my head. It's cold from head to toe and from the outside to my heart. It's making my heart colder and more ruthless. Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing? Zi Qianxia was stunned. Then, she said seriously, I still hope that you won't be too ruthless. There are many beautiful things in life. Those annoying things can be destroyed. Lin Jun smiled and didn't say anything. He was thinking about how much he could earn this time and how far he was from reviving the little phoenix. Seeing that Lin Jun didn't respond, Zi Qianxia felt a little regretful. Then, she said, leave that Haig to me. I hate this guy. The Dragon Jution also came up. That level 7 galactic system guy is looking at me. He seems to think that I'm afraid of him. This guy is mine. Captain Lin, don't fight with me. Zi Shan said, I'll deal with the Divine Armament race guy. The dwarf also said, I'll deal with that green Caltrip Empire woman. Damn it. She's so ugly and yet so arrogant. After seeing our Princess Qianxia, she's just an eyesore. Lin Jun smiled. It seems like you guys have already discussed it. All right, leave Yin Chia to me. He knows that I'm his lord, but he still does this. If I don't wake him up, he won't be able to see the situation clearly. This battle formation was actually the same as Haig's. When the two teams stood together, they didn't say much. Now, anything said would be superfluous. Since they had already shed all pretense of cordiality, there was no need to say any more hypocritical lies. Even if there was something to say, it would be a heated argument. Yin Xie stood in front of Lin Jun and waved his sword. Lin Jun, don't blame me. Lin Jun closed his eyes slightly, then opened them again. I still remember that when I took the courage test at the starfruit tree, you were the examiner. You said to me, "Who dares to peek at me? Yin Xie's dragon slaying?" At that time, I thought you were a man like a god. Unfortunately, your dream has been shattered. Yin Xie, you brought this upon yourself. Cut the crap. In the world of martial artists, the winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Lin Jun, if you don't understand this, I can teach you today. With a flash of sword light, Yin Xie's sword went straight for Lin Jun's throat. Clang! Lin Jun raised one hand and caught Yin Xie's sword with 2 fingers. The sound of metal clashing rang out. No matter how much astral energy Yin Xie channeled, he couldn't shake the sword in Lin Jun's hand at all. Lin Jun, Yin Xie, your memory is still stuck at the time of the Sky River Empire's invasion. I admit that our strength was on par at that time, but your speed of improvement can't be compared to mine. When you refused my proposal, I didn't think too much about it, but you shouldn't have betrayed me. People can be selfish, but they can't have no bottom line, especially when you don't know the real strength of the other party. As for the truth that the winner is the king and the loser is the bandit, I understood it much earlier than you. Evil spirit all. Bang! Yin Xie's spiritual sea was severely hit by Lin Jun's evil spirit all. In fact, Lin Jun could easily kill Yin Xie, who only had 1,000-star power, but he didn't want to. He wanted to let Yin Xie know what fear was. Thousands of ghosts wreaked havoc in Yin Xie's mind. Yin Xie's spiritual power had just reached the sky blue level, so he couldn't resist Lin Jun's spiritual power at all. If there was a word called hell, then Lin Jun's move was hell. It could make people suffer for 3 years, and it could make people not want to think about it a second time in their life. 10 seconds later, Yin Xie's brain died, and he left the arena. Lin Jun took a deep breath. This was just a small matter, and it soon disappeared with the wind. Turning his head to look at his other companions, he found that the battle was actually over. The dragon Zhu Tian killed Tai Jiang first, and then Zi Qianxia killed Haig, who was at the same level as him. After that, Poirot and Yu Xian were in a mess, and the dwarf and Zi Shisan easily defeated them and sent them out of the arena. Lin Jun, you're too slow. Zi Qianxia deliberately teased Lin Jun. Lin Jun laughed. What's there to be afraid of? Later, I'll show you how fast I am. When the arena is over, I'll treat you to whatever you want to eat in the Fire Qilin Empire, no matter how much you want to eat. Stingy. This time, you've earned at least tens of billions, right? You only want to treat me to a meal? Then I'll treat you to all the dishes in the Fire Qilin Empire. I guess there are at least tens of millions of dishes, or even hundreds of millions of dishes. I'll eat until you're broke. That depends on whether you have such a big stomach or not. Don't be idle. Continue to clean up the battlefield. At this moment, each person is worth a lot of money. The dragon Zhu Tian and the others were still moving together, so they wouldn't be eliminated. Lin Jun was moving alone. His figure was like a ghost, flashing everywhere. Wherever he went, he left afterimages of people being eliminated. The battle of 1 million people lasted for 1 hour, and now 55 minutes had passed. Of the 2 million people, only a few tens of thousands were left. On the black team's side, the mysterious general was killing everywhere. He had killed so many people. In comparison, the red team had less than 2,000 people left. Chapter 562. Black team's warriors gathered together and approached red team under Xin Zhang's lead. There seemed to be no suspense in this battle. There were still 5 minutes until the end of the battle. Red team only had a few thousand people left. They couldn't withstand a single blow. Of course, Lin Jun was a thorn in the side. Ordinary people were definitely not his match. But it didn't matter. Black team still had Xinjiang. After being in the arena for so many years, Xinjiang had extremely strong popularity and appeal. Even in the 68,399 district, warriors were used to listening to Xianzhang's lead. Now that a thorn like Lin Jun had appeared, in their opinion, Xianzhang must have a way to suppress Lin Jun. This was because there had been too many attempts to challenge his authority, but they all failed in the end. Xianzhang was not only strong, but also had the support of the 7 great malefic stars of the 68th district. If Lin Jun was too difficult to deal with, the 7 great malefic stars would definitely not allow Lin Jun to destroy the existing order. They would personally take action and destroy him in reality. In today's battle, Xianzhang's performance was also very outstanding. He had already killed more than 10,000 people from Red Team. The money he obtained was at least 60 to 70 billion. This Lin Jun could not escape from his hands. At this time, Black Team had already formed an encirclement, trapping Red Team inside. Xianzhang took the initiative to stand out and face Lin Jun. Lin Jun, I didn't expect you to actually dare to return to the arena. You really treat me, Xianzhang, as transparent. Since you're back, you must be mentally prepared to face my anger. Come. Let's compete today and see who is the king of the 68th district. Red Team's people consciously hid behind Lin Jun, waiting for Lin Jun's decision. Unknowingly, they had already treated Lin Jun as their leader. They believed that Lin Jun could lead them through the last 5 minutes. If they made it through, no one would die in the arena and they wouldn't lose half of their money. However, Lin Jun didn't seem to have the self-awareness of being a leader. Instead, he pointed at the tens of thousands of martial artists on the black side and said, "There's a lot of money here. Why would I be so stupid as to fight with you? There are only a few minutes left. Let's hurry up and make money." Finished talking, Lin Jun actually charged into that group of remnant martial artists once more, unleashing a massacre. F***CK. Lin Jun, you scoundrel. You don't dare to fight a mysterious general, so you're venting your anger on us ordinary martial artists. That's right. If you have the ability, then fight with Xian General. Why are you showing off here? Xianzhang seemed to dislike Lin Jun's actions and chased after him. But how could it be so easy to catch up? Lin Jun didn't care about the curses of some martial artists at all. He used all his killing moves and techniques, knocking down martial artists one by one. These martial artists had fought to this extent. Each person's arena funds had accumulated over 100 million. Killing one would earn him at least tens of millions. It would be strange if he didn't kill enough to break even. Time passed minute by minute. The black side martial artists were utterly defeated by Lin Jun. In just 4 minutes, even though they were fleeing in all directions, there were still thousands of people who died at Lin Jun's hands. These martial artists saw that Lin Jun was impervious and didn't bother with him. They all ran with all their might to save their lives. The scene was extremely chaotic. Xianzhang chased fiercely from behind. Seeing that Lin Jun wasn't fighting with Xianzhang, some martial artists ran to Xianzhang's side, believing that this was the safest place. "Lord Xianzhang, save us." Quickly go to Xianzhang's side. Lin Jun doesn't dare to go there. The chaotic crowd of martial artists ran over. It was impossible to see who was who. Seeing that the arena's time was about to end, Xianzhang was happy to protect his companions and wait for the time to end. A martial artist came to Xianzhang's side. He lowered his head and quickly approached. In a situation where no one was paying attention, a cold light suddenly flashed. A spear appeared at the throat of Xianzhang, who was surrounded by the crowd. That was Lin Jun. Lin Jun had unknowingly blended into the crowd. He removed his armor state and lowered his head. In a chaotic scene, no one discovered him. He secretly ran over here and succeeded in sneaking an attack on Xianzhang. Absolute kill. This was an absolute kill in a countdown. Following Lin Jun's death of the mysterious general, the competition had come to an end. Black Team had obtained the final victory, and every surviving martial artist would be rewarded with 10,000 Cosmos Crystals. Although 10,000 Cosmos Crystals wasn't considered little, to these martial artists, it was negligible. However, no one was paying attention to this at this time. What they were paying attention to was that Lin Jun actually killed Xianzhang at the last moment. For a moment, The entire 68,399 small battle zones martial artists were boiling. However, the majority of them were cursing Lin Jun. I swear, I've lived for more than 1,300 years, and this is the first time I've seen such a shameless person. Lin Jun, you've refreshed the definition of the word shameless today. Me too. Martial artists should be open and above board. Lin Jun didn't dare to fight Xianzhang head-on, but hid in the crowd to sneak attack. He took advantage of Xianzhang's loophole to protect his teammates. I don't want to be associated with such a person. Lin Jun, you bastard, don't be complacent. Your sneak attack was successful this time, but you won't be so lucky next time. Xianzhang will definitely kill you first and let you know what it means to be a great god. Looking at the scrolling subtitles in the dimensional universe, Zi Qianxia said angrily, I'm not looking anymore. The more I look, the angrier I get. These people are relying on Xianzhang's power to intimidate others. If you, Lin Jun, can defeat Xianzhang head-on once, I guarantee that these people will all shut up. Unexpectedly, Lin Jun gently shook his finger. No, why should I defeat Xianzhang head-on? Zi Qianxia couldn't help but be stunned. Why don't you want to defeat him head-on? Lin Jun laughed. If I defeat Xianzhang head-on, will you and I become the great gods of 68,399 district? At this time, the Dragon Jutian said, I don't think so. The current order is very difficult to break. If Xianzhang doesn't have the ability to suppress this small district, then there will definitely be someone stronger. I guess it will be one of the 7 malevolent stars. As long as you pay enough, martial artists can change districts. They're so rich, they won't care about this little fee. Lin Jun nodded slightly. That's right, I need to stay here for a while, so Xianzhang can't fall for the time being. I still need him in this position. Zi Qianxia and the dwarf Nicole also nodded in understanding. It wasn't that Lin Jun couldn't defeat Xianzhang head-on, but now wasn't the time. However, the dwarf Nicole had a question in her heart. Lin Jun's sneak attack was successful the first time, but what about the second time? How could he guarantee that he would still be able to kill Xianzhang without facing him head-on? Even if Lin Jun looked very strong now, there wasn't that big of a gap between him and Xianzhang, right? In the quiet room, Lin Jun looked at his bank account excitedly. In this arena battle of 1,000,000 people, he had actually obtained more than 110 billion. He had accumulated more than 70 billion before, and in the end, he had obtained more than 40 billion after killing Xianzhang. In this battle, he had obtained unprecedented wealth. Looking at the balance of more than 300 billion in his bank account, Lin Jun found it hard to calm down. Soon, there was less than 200 billion left, and he would be able to buy the Fire Crystal Core for the 4th time, and then advance to the Cyan Flame. With the power of this flame, Lin Jun could return to the Chaotic Star River and revive the Little Phoenix. However, Lin Jun didn't slack off. He knew very well that he wouldn't be able to do this many times. Soon, other people would find clues, and his cooperation with Xianzhang would also be exposed. At that time, he believed that the 7 fiends of the 68th district would definitely make a move. Lin Jun had to have the strength to fight against the 7 fiends before that happened. I can't stop cultivating. This time, I obtained a dozen or so plant hearts from Mount Meru. They can further increase the power of my Dark Star. I've already placed one in my Dark Star. Now, it's the Dark Star's high-speed growth period. My body's realm is still improving, and I'm not far from the late stage of the Black Hole realm. After all, the breakthrough of the Black Hole realm can be slow, but it can also be fast. Although he was anxious to increase his star power, Lin Jun didn't insist on this matter. He still had other things to do. During his leisure time, Lin Jun would take out the Dual Mastery Secret Manual he obtained from Mount Meru. After the main body and doppelganger could transfer star power, Lin Jun's doppelganger's edge spear was basically useless. As for Lin Jun, he also began to train with the 2 spears. The yin-yang edge twin spears weighed several tens of thousands of kilograms each. Only someone like Lin Jun, who had immense strength, could wield them with ease. As long as he succeeded in cultivating the twin spears, Lin Jun's battle prowess would rise to another level. For this reason, He didn't even go to the arena to fight in the individual arena again. Instead, he stayed in his rented place and concentrated on cultivating, waiting for the next million people battle. Lord Fifth Ghost, I want to tell you something. I suspect that there's a problem with this matter. In the dimensional universe, Yihua contacted Fifth Ghost. Although Fifth Ghost didn't think highly of Yihua, after all, he still had the face of the mechanical realm king. Yihua also specifically mentioned Yihua's matter and asked Fifth Ghost to take care of him. After all, in the 68th district, the small battle zones, starting with the number 6, were managed by Fifth Ghost. Yihua also had an old friendship with the mechanical realm king. It's young Master Yihua. Speak, what's the matter? Yihua said seriously. I suspect that there's something fishy between Lin Jun and that mysterious general. They're working together to make money. Oh, what do you mean? Fifth Ghost was startled. Yihua's words gave him a bad premonition. My words aren't baseless. I know Lin Jun very well. This person's spiritual force is extremely outstanding. He even has a consummate skill that can lock the soul. In the chaotic Star River, he advanced to the Emerald Ray level of spiritual force. I believe that Lord Fifth Ghost also knows about the matter of Mount Meru. The mysterious general brought so many people and still wasn't Lin Jun's opponent. At that time, Lin Jun's main target was the mysterious general. The others all ran away, leaving only the heavily injured Lin Jun and the mysterious general. Right? That's right. Continue. Fifth Ghost's expression had already become gloomy. I believe that at that time, the mysterious general had no way of escaping Lin Jun's pursuit. However, the mysterious general was completely fine and even came back unharmed. In addition to this time's matter in the arena, Lin Jun earned hundreds of billions. Connecting these two matters, don't tell me you don't think it's strange? Fifth Ghost slowly closed his eyes. The mysterious general is one of us. It doesn't matter if Lord Fifth Ghost doesn't believe me. Not long after, there will be a million people battle. If the next result is the same as this time, then I believe that Lord should know what to do. Chapter 563. The second battle with a million people in the dimensional arena came 10 days later. The people in the arena thought that Xian General would definitely ruthlessly slap Lin Jun's face in this battle and take revenge for the previous sneak attack. But they didn't expect the outcome of the battle to be the same as the previous one. At the beginning, Lin Jun and Xian General didn't meet each other. Instead, they tried their best to kill ordinary warriors. Only when the battle was about to end did the two gods have the chance to face each other. But this time, Lin Jun's red team had a lot more people left than the black team. At the last moment, Lin Jun instigated a large number of warriors to surround and kill Xian General. Xian General was brave and fierce enough to kill thousands of people consecutively. But Lin Jun finally took advantage of the chaos and succeeded in another sneak attack, killing Xian General. As a result, a scolding war broke out in the dimensional universe once again. They said that Lin Jun had an unfair advantage at the last moment, that he was bullying others with more people, that he still used a sneak attack against Xian General with more than 2,000 people, and that it wasn't glorious even if he won. Lin Jun didn't care. His strategy was that he and Xian General would try their best to kill as many people as they could. In the end, Lin Jun would find an opportunity to kill Xian General. This way, they could maximize their benefits. This time, Lin Jun's harvest was even greater than the previous time. He had obtained 120 billion cosmos crystals. At this point, Lin Jun's assets had already reached 450 billion cosmos crystals. With another 50 billion cosmos crystals, he would be able to purchase another fire crystal core. Master, Fifth Ghost asked me to hand over his residence to him for the earnings from the arena. Xian General reported to Lin Jun in the dimensional universe. This was the second time the two of them worked together to make money. Xian General had already handed over the first portion to Fifth Ghost through the dimensional universe. He asked you to go to his residence? Yes. He didn't need to do this before. I only needed to hand over 80%. But this time, I feel that something is amiss. How much money do you have left? Half of the arena has died. There is still 42 billion left. Listen to me. tell the fifth ghost that you will be there soon, transfer all the money to me, then immediately turn off all communication. Keep in touch only with me. Take a spaceship and leave. Go as far as you can. No, come to the Sky River Empire. Come to my home solar system and help me guard my home here. Don't go to the fifth ghost and don't ever go back. I understand. I'll leave now. With 42 billion cosmos crystals in his account, Lin Jun's assets had reached 492 billion cosmos crystals. He was only 8 billion away from his final target. He reckoned that the five ghosts must have sensed that there was something wrong with the Xian general. If the Xian general went over, he might encounter a mishap. Lin Jun did not want such a thing to happen. Although Xian Jiang had left, Lin Jun knew that his direct confrontation with Fifth Ghost and the others was about to arrive. I have to get more money immediately to buy the Fire Crystal Core, just in case something unexpected happens. Letting the Xian general stall for time, Lin Jun once again entered the arena and began a new round of sweeping. As long as the individual arena value exceeded 100 million, Lin Jun would beat them down, quickly accumulating wealth. Also in the Fire Kirin Empire, in a city 4 million kilometers away from Lin Jun, in a flying villa, the fifth ghost was talking with a person. Fifth ghost, is what you said true? Opposite the fifth ghost, a feminine young man with colorful fluffy hair said in disbelief. Inghua, when did I joke with you? This matter is absolutely true. Xian General is definitely controlled by Lin Jun. Just now, I asked him to come to me to hand over the cosmos crystals, but after he agreed, he actually ran away. Now, I can't contact him. The fifth ghost quickly told what Yihua told him. Inghua wasn't a fool. After thinking for a while, she had almost guessed the cause and effect. Lin Jun, I really underestimated this person. If I had known earlier, I would have killed him directly. He actually caused us such a big trouble. I think Lin Jun seems to be in urgent need of money. After the Xian general left, he actually immediately frantically raked in money in the arena. Inghua, do you think we should stop him? Of course, he actually has the guts to control the Xian general. He is mentally prepared to bear the consequences. Let's go and kill him now. The fifth ghost and Inghua boarded the ship and went straight in the direction of Lin Jun. 4 million kilometers was just a 3 to 5 minute flight. When the fifth ghost discovered that the Xian general had run away, he was ready to kill Lin Jun. After a few rounds, Lin Jun earned less than 3 billion. After that, he felt uneasy in his heart. Looking out the window, he felt that the sky above the Kirin's sacred planet was dark, as if there were clouds rapidly approaching from afar. A sense of oppression enveloped his heart. No, I can't stay here any longer. Now that the Chaos World King isn't here, I might be in danger if I stay here. Lin Jun was also a decisive person. After making up his mind, he immediately left. After teleporting to the Heaven Fire little store, he took everything here, and then his clone escaped into the dark star space. After doing all this, Lin Jun didn't even have time to teleport away. 2 huge pressure descended from the sky. Lin Jun, don't think of leaving. Hand over your life. A figure penetrated the roof and entered. His eyes were only white, without any black pupils. It was the fifth ghost of the arena's 7 great malevolent stars. Lin Jun immediately transformed into his armor and transferred his star power. The yin-yang spear in his hand trembled as he resisted the fifth ghost's attack. A mushroom cloud rose from the Heaven Fire little store. This store that could forge low-grade heaven artifacts was raised to the ground just like that. Even the surrounding area of a few hundred meters was formed into a huge crater. Lin Jun's body sunk a few dozen meters. Fifth ghost attack was clearly focused on hitting a single point. It was extremely powerful, and Lin Jun was actually unable to withstand it. Shit, this guy's star power is too strong. It's definitely above 15,000. However, although the fifth ghost star power was stronger than Lin Jun's, there was a limit to it. After a few days of cultivation, Lin Jun's star power had increased again under the stimulation of the heart of nature. It was now more than 13,900, close to 14,000. The difference between 14,000 and 15,000 wasn't too obvious. Therefore, although the fifth ghost had the advantage over Lin Jun, He didn't have the ability to defeat Lin Jun in one fell swoop. Lin Jun leaped out of the crater. In his armor state, he didn't care about the impact. His star power surged as he charged towards the fifth ghost again. What an arrogant kid! A strange voice rang out. A feminine man appeared beside him. The moment he attacked, a dazzling light flashed, making it difficult for people to look at him. Lin Jun waved his spear and exchanged blows with this person. Suddenly, the fifth ghost attacked from the side again with his saber. Brandishing his spear, he blocked the fifth ghost's attack. Suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his abdomen. He was punched hard by the feminine man. Lin Jun took 2 steps back. The two people intertwined with each other and followed him like a shadow. Shit, the person who came with the fifth ghost has a star power that isn't lower than his. That must be Yinghua. 2 of the 7 great malefic stars in the arena attacked Lin Jun at the same time. This really made Lin Jun feel flattered. It seemed that these 2 people didn't want to give him any chance and took him down in one fell swoop. If it was one person, Lin Jun was confident that he could fight for a while. Even if he couldn't win, he definitely wouldn't lose badly. However, with 2 gods with more than 15,000 star power working together, Lin Jun really couldn't handle it. The fifth ghost and the mysterious general cooperated very well. The 2 of them attacked from the left and the right, and the timing of their attacks was very good. That definitely wouldn't give Lin Jun any chance. This kind of cooperation was somewhat similar to the cooperation between Lin Jun and his doppelganger. Seeing that the situation wasn't good, Lin Jun attacked with his horizon spear. The 2 spears in his hands danced and faced the fifth ghost and Yinghua from the left and right. He had been practicing dual-wielding mastery for the past few days, and it had been quite effective. The 2 celestial spears danced up and down and blocked the joint attack of the fifth ghost and Yinghua. This kid actually knows how to use spears with both hands. What a tough bone to chew. However, no matter how tough this bone is to chew, we will still chew him to pieces today. The battle between the 3 of them attracted a lot of people to watch, and it was immediately transmitted to the dimensional universe. The fifth ghost and Yinghua were both famous people, and they were immediately recognized. Lin Jun's reputation was also quite high. During the battle at the Chaotic Star River, more than half of the Fire Kirin people knew this new young expert. However, no one expected that Lin Jun could actually fight the 2 gods of the arena, Fifth Ghost and Yinghua, at the same time. Suddenly, there was a lot of discussion in the dimensional universe. Many people at the scene also said that the Fifth Ghost and Yinghua were about to be replaced by the new expert, Lin Jun. Under such circumstances, the Fifth Ghost and Yinghua couldn't keep their faces. This Lin Jun was really difficult to deal with. His star power was obviously not as good as theirs, but he could actually fight with them for so long with 2 spears. If they couldn't end the battle as soon as possible, it would be very embarrassing. The 2 angered people both took out their trump cards, which really opened Lin Jun's eyes. These 2 people were even proficient in the laws of space and time. Although they were not as proficient as Lin Jun, they were still very good. In addition, they had a variety of attack methods, which also caught Lin Jun off guard. After fighting for a few minutes, Lin Jun finally couldn't hold on anymore. In the end, his absolute strength was still a little lacking. No, if this continues, I'm afraid I'll die here. I have to run. The star power around him surged, and Lin Jun shouted, "Collapse!" A ball of light flashed, and the fifth ghost and Yinghua retreated slightly. They also knew that Lin Jun's move was extraordinary. However, they didn't expect that under the cover of this ball of light, Lin Jun directly used planet teleportation and instantly moved tens of thousands of kilometers away. Oh no, he ran away. The fifth ghost was furious. Chapter 564. Fifth Ghost and Yinghua were also extremely fast. As great god-level experts in the war zone, they could fly at sublight speed. Although they did not have the ability to teleport 100,000 kilometers away in a short time like Lin Jun's planetary teleportation, it was not easy for Lin Jun to get rid of them. In the end, if he wanted to escape, he still had to rely on the spaceship. After several planetary teleportations, Lin Jun's star power was greatly reduced. However, this was the only way to increase the distance between him and his opponents in a short time. After 5 planetary teleportations, Fifth Ghost and Inghua were at least 100,000 kilometers away. Lin Jun took out the Eternity Crystal battleship and quickly flew into the distance. After a while, the battleship accelerated and entered the parallel universe. It was only then that Lin Jun heaved a sigh of relief. That was close. If it weren't for the planetary teleportation, I wouldn't have been able to escape the joint attack of Fifth Ghost and Inghua. I only managed to do this with the help of a little flash. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have given me the chance to teleport. Looking out the window, the parallel universe was grotesque and variegated. The crisscrossing light was like a lattice. This time, I should be safe for the time being. Where should I go? Lin Jun checked his bank card. 495 billion. Of this 495 billion, 50 billion is the minimum amount of my 5-star Supreme card. I can't use it easily. Otherwise, I'll have to double the amount to upgrade it. 55 billion. It shouldn't be difficult to get. I can go to the dimensional arena again. Maybe I'll be able to earn it in a few days. There's also Xian General. He can also take advantage of this time to go to the arena to earn money. If the two of us move at the same time, we can move faster. Xian General was notified in the dimensional universe. Xian General immediately went online. The two of them swept all the individual arenas in the arena at the same time, accumulating money crazily again. Damn it, Lin Jun has entered the arena again, and there's also the Xian General. This guy really betrayed us. The two of them are sweeping through the arena together, specifically picking the ones with the highest amount of money to challenge, causing the arena to be in chaos. Although I don't know why he wants so much money, I must make sure he doesn't get a single cent. Fifth Ghost was in a spaceship to chase after Lin Jun. However, they were in the parallel universe and could not catch up to him in a short time. Seeing that Lin Jun was still earning money, he was furious. Don't worry, we'll contact Boss Luo Ho immediately. He's the king of the 68th district. As long as he says something, Ji-Du and the others won't have any objections. We can apply to freeze the dimensional arena accounts of Lin Jun and Xianjiang in the name of cheating. Can it succeed? Fifth Ghost asked. Of course we can. You know that you want to, right? He has a name called Tianci. Tianci's father is an executive of the dimensional arena, a domain monarch-level expert. Let Tianci talk to his father. He will still give us, the 7 great malefic stars, some face. Lin Jun and Xian General's accounts will definitely be frozen. Fifth Ghost's eyes lit up. That's great. I'll find Luo Ho now. You go and contact Yihua. Tell him that if this matter is not handled well, he won't have a good life either. Luo Ho was the strongest among the 7 great malefic stars. He was almost a legendary figure in the 68th district. His home was in the Dark Moon Empire, which was located a few million light years away from the Fire Qilin Empire. He lived alone on a planet, and no one was allowed to enter within a 1 light-year radius. He was the only life in this starry sky. This was Luo Ho's home. An old rocking chair rocked slowly. Luo Ho was lying on it with his eyes slightly closed, as if he was sleeping. As he breathed, a huge vortex of air covered the entire sky of the planet. The vortex moved with his breathing, as if the entire planet was trembling with his rhythm. The scene was abnormally shocking. His AI notified him that Fifth Ghost was calling him in the dimensional universe. After connecting, Luo Ho only made a sound of acknowledgement without opening his eyes. Fifth Ghost also knew Luo Ho's style. He didn't dare to let Luo Ho take the initiative to say anything. He immediately told him everything about the Lin Jun incident. Big brother Luo Ho, this Lin Jun must be eradicated. This kid is full of ambition. He knew that Xinjiang was protected by me and Mars, but he still dared to lock his soul and use it for himself. If we give him time, I'm afraid he will ride on our heads. Luo Ho still didn't say anything. Fifth Ghost continued. We have a plan. We will appeal in the name of the 7 great malefic stars. We know a Fire Qilin warrior called Tianci. His father is an executive of the dimensional arena. If he passes, Lin Jun and Xinjiang's accounts will be frozen. So now we need Boss Luo Ho to make an appeal. As long as you order your life to do it, then Ji-Do and the others will agree. The dimensional universe hung up. Although Luo Ho didn't say anything, Fifth Ghost let out a sigh of relief. If he didn't agree, Luo Ho would say it. Since he didn't say anything, it meant that he agreed. Sure enough, after a while, Luo Ho's appeal came out. It not only had his dimensional universe mark, but also the marks of Ji-Do, defeating armies, 7 kills, Yu Ying, and several others. They all agreed to the appeal. After he and Mars also added their marks, the marks of the 7 great malefic stars were all added together. The joint appeal was submitted. On the other side, Tianxi's father really worked hard. Soon, the arena accounts of Lin Jun and Xianjiang were frozen. Lin Jun, who had already played more than a dozen rounds in the arena and earned more than 3 billion, suddenly felt his vision go black. He actually exited the dimensional arena. What's going on? Master, I've received a notification here. Because you're suspected of intentionally earning money in the arena, your arena account has been frozen. As long as the Fire Chillin Arena Management side doesn't unfreeze you, you won't be able to log into the arena again. Who is it? Why do they want to freeze my arena account? In order to freeze your account, a famous account in this region must file a complaint. Then, the arena must investigate and approve it. This time it was done so quickly. I reckon that someone in the arena did something. As for who it is, Master, you can figure it out yourself. Lin Jun almost immediately thought of Tianxi's father. He was an executive of the arena. This matter must have been done by him. As for who was the one who filed the complaint, there was no need to think about it. This was because Xianjiang had also sent a message that his account had been frozen. How much have you earned in total? Lin Jun asked. Master, I have obtained one. 8 billion cosmos crystals. I will transfer it to you now. Soon, Xianjiang's money arrived. Together with Xianjiang's money, Lin Jun just happened to have 500 billion cosmos crystals. Of course, this included the 50 billion as a reserve fund. If he were to purchase the Fire Crystal Core now, Lin Jun would end up with nothing once again. Additionally, he would lose the Colosseum as a source of income. If Lin Jun wanted to earn more money, he would have to rely on forging heaven-tier artifacts. However, at this time, his desire to revive Little Phoenix had gained the upper hand. A 5-star Supreme card will only cost me an additional 50 billion. I should revive Little Phoenix as soon as possible so as to prevent any undue delay. However, the purchase of the Fire Quartz Core cannot be done in the parallel universe. I should find a planet to stay on before notifying the delivery. Lin Jun opened the star map and wanted to find a suitable place to go. He wasn't worried about his family. There was also a light-speed spaceship at home. Furthermore, there was an interstellar radar and a parallel universe monitoring system. As long as an unknown spaceship intruded, his family could take the light-speed spaceship and leave at any time. No one will be able to catch up to them. He believed that Fifth Ghost and the others were aware of this. If the other party chased after him, as long as he didn't go home, his family would be safe. They wouldn't deliberately make a trip to the solar system for nothing. After looking for a while, Lin Jun locked onto a target. A small planet 500 kilometers away from him could be used as the delivery location. The Eternity Crystal spaceship left the parallel universe and quickly arrived at this small planet. This was a barren, uninhabited planet. The temperature difference between day and night was extremely large. There were no resources, and it was not suitable for human habitation. Lin Jun landed here. Before he could find the delivery person, Crazy immediately issued a warning. Master, be careful. There are spaceships in the distance approaching quickly. Lin Jun was shocked when he heard this. He immediately teleported to the other side of the small planet. Then, he took out the spaceship again and took off. As the spaceship accelerated, he saw another Eternity Crystal spaceship appear. It was Fifth Ghost and Mars, who were chasing after him. How did these two fellows find my location so quickly? Lin Jun piloted the spaceship for about an hour and found a barren, uninhabited planet. After waiting for about 10 minutes, he saw Fifth Ghost's spaceship appear again. This time, Lin Jun was sure that the other party must have used a secret tracking technique on him. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to chase after him even after crossing the parallel universe. This kind of secret technique was very difficult to crack if one didn't know the trick. Lin Jun suddenly felt a little annoyed. You guys are really persistent. However, I don't believe that your spaceship can store more energy crystals than mine. Keep chasing me if you can. Let's see how long you can keep chasing me. As long as you can't keep up with me even once, I'll have a chance to find a planet to deliver the goods. I don't believe that you won't replenish your energy crystals. This time, Lin Jun piloted the Eternity Crystal spaceship and began to wander in the universe. Crossing the parallel universe was extremely energy-consuming. Lin Jun flew in the parallel universe for a day and then left. When he saw the other party chasing after him, he immediately entered the parallel universe again. Lin Jun's Dark Star space stored a large number of energy crystals, but Fifth Ghost and Mars spaceship couldn't have such a large storage space.